Consume, enhance, replicate. Consume, enhance, replicate.
Oh man,
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
here's
do
the,
really well with the ladies.
Just replace
until
the beard
daylight
with
savings hits.
a. Oh god.
Wow.
Yep, that's accurate.
Taylor.
That's
I had some fun
accurate.
with it.
Oh, that's
You went from looking like the guy off of Mythbusters to
Adam Savage.
Yeah.
I like to think
It's
my
like
beard's
the-
better than his, but that's like a personal.
Yeah, yours is more groomed than his is.
That's like the evolution of man in reverse.
The recreation of baby. Let's go.
In the beginning, there was NASCAR.
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
The funny thing is you have a good chin. It's not like you have a weak chin.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's like what most people that's what like
you.
most okay. For the guys in my life who have weak chins, they grow a beard because they're gonna cover it up. But Taylor has a good chin. Why
So-
is
I
this so
love
funny?
how Taylor,
Green.
without missing a beat, is just like, thank you.
Hey, Green.
the only way
I gotta
a
tell you
Taylor
one
to
thing.
receive that.
I gotta tell you one thing, and then I gotta bounce. I
Okay.
used to have a very weak chin, but I don't anymore. You want to know how?
Oh god.
I am scared.
I am scared.
Chin ups.
Chin ups.
How? I
I
mean,
like it. I like it. How many reps do you think you do a day, Justin, to get such a robust chin that you now have command of?
You know, I've got kind of the cleft in the middle, so I do 30 on the left, 30 on the right.
oh
Gotta
god.
keep it even. You wouldn't want to lopsided, but what if he favored one side? Then it'd just be like one huge side of his chin.
Just be Jay Leno
Yeah.
on one side and
Just bulking up.
Danny DeVito on the other.
Yep. Yeah, just straight up bulking up, man.
Oh, man.
I'll do this thing at work where I'll just hold a pencil in my butt chin.
And your butt chin.
all I'm saying is, Justin, don't skip neck day, or else it's gonna look like real weird as a juxtaposition. You're gonna need.
I'll look like Mad Max riding that horse after Thunderdome when they slapped it on the ass with a giant pinata head on
No.
Oh,
it. And he's just
My favorite-
freaking baby necking through
everyone makes fun of
desert.
Thunderdome, but my favorite quote from any movie is still at the end when the background character who didn't make any sense most of the film is escaping on the little plane, and he tells the dude who's about to drive off the cliff, "Remember, no matter where you go, there you are."
There you are.
Uh-huh. My grandpa used to say that shit to me as a just
so good.
just to
Yeah.
Oh, man.
minute my life. I've been surrounded
That
by
movie-
dad jokes for years.
That movie set back the cause of little people 2 decades.
Yeah.
Me, master. You fucking leech. Walk for yourself.
Not
man.
shit energy.
Holy shit! I feel like I've thoroughly ruined the show, and I'm not even gonna be on it. So
Nah.
Justin, it wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have been the same without you. You were here last time I was here, so I'm glad you stopped by.
oh, that's freaking awesome. Yeah. Let me look at my calendar. I'll see if we can figure out a time when I can come on yours. I've got to figure out what topics I do.
Yeah,
Excited.
there's this
Literally-
dragon theory that he has.
Dude, yeah, no, he can be whatever you want, and we will talk about it seriously. And I got to tell you, like, we normally record on Wednesdays, but it's like such a short format that we're totally flexible with whatever ends up working out for you.
Okay.
Justin, they
Okay.
even let me do my Eva Levante, like Grandma Eva's.
I still am upset because I
Oh.
don't legitimately cannot come up with
an
super-
argument.
a super
Right?
serious rebuttal to it. Like, it upsetting me because it's actually a good theory.
It's fairly solid.
I'm like,
Well,
"Ugh!"
in that episode, me and Bagels are deadpanning, so like we're playing it serious. It's not that like we had an argument that we could have presented and chose to withhold. Like it's much from the same vein. It's like I actually can't come up with anything.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, God damn it! Like I've thought about it. I'm like, no, it can't be. Ugh.
You mean the chick that like hands out banana stickers in D1?
Yep.
Mhm,
Yep.
mhm. Mhm.
That's who
And
we're.
this
that's-
time she's in the tower, like trying to make us
Banana
do bounties for her.
All those banana
That's-
stickers are just feeding into your hubris.
Oh, the Shrinky.
The thing is you're not wrong.
I'm gonna have to set aside a block of time where I can hear this because this sounds like some Justin level nonsense.
It's amazing.
Oh, Justin,
Just go listen to the Spinfoil podcast.
I will.
yeah, Justin, you gotta definitely listen to this one because I'm going to present a Justin Pan level theory about Tang existing in D2
Oh, nice.
because I think it's pretty plausible. I'm not gonna lie. I give it plus 18 plausibilities
Okay,
in my
On a level
unofficial
of
narrating scheme.
You're unofficial.
that's a lot. That's a lot of plausibilities.
It's more than
It's-
a few.
It's more than five lasagnas.
have you ever played the? Isn't there a mission in Destiny called the Tree of Plausibilities?
Okay.
I think
Mhm.
There should be. There should-
it's like we think it's less than a probability. It's like a plausibility. It's a tree of plausibility.
Yeah, like you get to that plausibility by a guesstimate,
Mm-hmm.
and you really.
Lord, and then you carry the one. So
Then you carry the
guys,
one.
Whatever you do, do not let this show go by tonight without talking about Osiris's niece, Miley Osiris.
Ooh, got that.
And
I'll bring her up when I talk about how the seed is really a suppository.
Oh God.
I can curb that one if that's everyone's reaction.
yeah.
I love Jesse. Yeah.
No, just the idea of I don't know if it's the
I mean,
reverse
it's too big to be a
engineering
pill,
of
that's
that.
all I'm saying. Like you
Where you
can't
say-
swallow that.
Prepare yourself for the seed, and then
Oh.
then it's like that's not a plausibility for me. That's not gonna happen.
That's not
Justin's like,
plausible.
and on that note, I'm out.
Y'all be good. And before I let you go, Blue, the YouTube ad for like that like mobile app where you like building civilizations, like Rise of Civilization or something. It's the ad that's on all the time.
Oh yeah. The yeah.
The guy who's like narrates that sounds just like Ben.
Oh God. So I always watch it, but I always like skip it, and I never pay attention to ads, like because I usually have them muted. Now I'm gonna have to go watch it
Just-
and listen to it.
Watch it. It sounds like Ben without the yelling. Oh
Wait.
yeah,
Oh
We're gonna-
God.
we're gonna build ourselves a castle.
Oh no.
God.
Freaking just like. All right.
All
Green,
right.
Taylor,
Yes.
Blue, have a freaking awesome show. Taylor, I'll be in touch.
Yeah,
I'll have
please.
my people call your people.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Gavin's in charge of your correspondence now?
Yeah, well, he's my person.
That's fair.
This is son.
I'm just now realizing makes me sound kind of lonely.
What about Raid Shadow Legends? God damn that thing.
Oh Jesus!
So Screwball. You need to look up. So there's a YouTube channel called I think it's Internet Historian, and he does a parody of a Raid Shadow Legends ad. It's fucking amazing. I'm gonna have to see if I can find it. It's fucking amazing.
My name is Death Knight. It's Death Knight.
Is that who it is? No.
Yeah.
Is it?
The Raid Shadow Legends. That's that commercial where they're in the support group and it's the skeleton.
No. That's a different one. This is oh, hang on. It's just looking at the clip, I can't help it.
Have y'all seen the one by Ryan Creamer?
Uh-oh.
He does all those parody porns on Pornhub.
Oh God.
Wholesome.
Oh,
It's a wholesome.
yeah.
Oh,
It's like a
Blue
wholesome version.
talked
It's
about
like
this,
my
yeah.
my stepsister takes a shower and I don't interrupt her.
I don't interrupt her.
Yeah. It's stuff like that. He has like a very wholesome, like you're having a date night with Ryan Creamer ad.
Oh,
on
God.
YouTube.
Yeah, I finished Pornhub. I'm just waiting on Pornhub 2 to come out.
Oh God.
I don't know if the sequel's gonna have the same energy as the original, but I'm excited for it myself.
Oh my God.
Oh shit! All right, guys.
And with that,
I
Justin
have a
leaves.
good-
Bye.
I finished.
As mysteriously as he arrived,
Catch
he
you later,
left
Bill
on
and
the
Ted.
Pornhub joke. Y'all be good. Have a great show.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh,
Let's
well,
see if
that
he,
was a fun warm
let's
up.
see if he. Oh, he does. He remembers how to get out of the show.
Yay! Has that
So
ever
the co-
happened where like
Yes.
he's like been
Yes.
unmiked or something?
Well,
Yeah.
no, like he'll like, all right, bye, see ya. I'm watching the stream because I have to resize the thing. He never leaves, and I'm like,
The other side of it is he will have he'll remain in the voice chat overnight. Like we'll go into the voice chat or go into Discord the next morning and he's still sitting in voice chat.
Oh, this
It'll
is
blip
amazing.
every once in a while and it's like, oh God.
This
I'm
is
so
amazing.
glad.
that's one of those. I don't want to join because I don't want to know what's happening on the other.
Uh-huh.
end.
You don't want to see if there's any like Pornhub in the making kind of shit going on that end.
Are we Green? Did you already get a chance to talk to Taylor about recording? Am I recording? How are we doing?
I'm so I picked up Audacity. I just hit record
Yeah.
just now. So I will be having my own
Awesome.
file that I can
Awesome.
send to you guys.
So you are amazing.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm going to tell you to stop the recording.
I was
Okay.
like, are you going to tell him or am I going to tell him?
Ooh.
So delete that file right there. There's a little X on the far left side. That'll just take care of that. And
Okay.
we try to start at the same time so when Blue's doing
Yep.
the editing, he can sync it all up a lot easier.
Uh,
So that I'll count
I'm-
us down from
Yeah, I'm good to go whenever you are, Green.
Okay, I'll count us down from 3 down to 1, and I'll say click afterwards when we go ahead and go. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, click.
I clicked
Mhm.
at the right time. I hope.
Yay! Yeah, it's okay. Like even if it's a little staggered because of the lag of the internet, Blue's
Well,
pretty practiced at fixing
yeah.
it too.
Yeah, I've done it a couple times. This also helps with because I'll have a backup running as well on my end, but then if there's like any hiccups as far as like internet connection or Discord being stupid, the local files are always nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Green, were you gonna jump in for Silent Crucible?
I can do that. I don't have any bounties, so let me go
Okay.
to the tower. Are you actually going to have that Silent Crucible up in the background, or are we just...
Yeah, I'll pop. Yeah, hang on. There we go.
Cool. All right.
Yep. Oh, that's super cool. I didn't realize you guys doing the streaming thing. We're considering that, though I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I don't know. We go back and forth, honestly, on if we play or not during the stream. But given that this is like the one time with everything else going on, this is like the one time I actually am like, oh, hey, I can actually play a video game. It's like, yeah, we're gonna play a video game.
Yeah, do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, Taylor, in the show notes at the very top, in the smallest way possible, there's a tiny set of words that says mind map. That is a link to Blue's infamous Osiris mind map.
I cleaned it
And
up. It's a lot prettier now.
If you, instead of like doing just the show notes and you want to kind of click around finding ideas and stuff like that, this is kind of like how we develop the crazy ass theories.
Yeah. No, I like it. Yeah, I think I had actually like increased magnification on the show
Yeah,
notes so I
yeah.
could see the photo of this. So sorry about
Yeah,
that.
so I cleaned it up a lot. It used to be a lot worse. Like, to actually see the whole thing, you had it get to the point where it's like, is that text or is that just like a smudge on the screen?
Also, Blue, do you mind? Is there a way to lock down so people can't edit the mind map, but they can
Yeah, I
view
already
it?
have it.
Do you have
although-
that link in chat for anybody who wants to?
Oh yeah.
look
It's,
at the crazy map?
anyone who uses the link that is in the show note. Actually, here, I'll just do it.
Yeah, just easy peasy.
No, I like
Yeah,
this. I like
usually,
this. I had. I'm
whenever
sorry.
I have, well, no, I was just gonna say usually whenever I share out mind map links, I have them set to view only because I made the mistake of
Yep.
not doing that once, and it was someone who was trying to help, and they didn't delete it. They moved like half of it over into another half because if you don't really pay attention to what you're doing in MindMeister, you can really like shuffle things. And I was like, "Yep, that's never gonna happen again. I'm paranoid." Click no. It's like I'm not doing that.
Honestly, I gotta say, like, I really dig having this as a resource because I think like very like you and I, Blue, I think especially are like very on different ends of the spectrum of preparedness for things. I think you were very good at, and I kind of picked this up listening to the most recent episode today. You guys doing like the world building, and it's just hearing you talk about like what characters you play and like how you go into things and like how like, prepared you are. And it's just like I hate to admit it, I've never played one. I think I might be the bard. I think I might be the guy.
I can say, having had a couple conversations with you, Taylor, that you are absolutely the fucking bard.
You are unreservedly yes. That.
I can dig it. No, I'm here for it because I think it definitely fits me. We have we played some tabletop. My girlfriend especially is like super into it, so I think we're doing a one-off of a Lord of the Rings themed
Oh, nice.
D20.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, like her and her brother do games all the time. I played a couple of them with them before, more recently. But yeah, so like I'm trying to like think of what class I'm going to be, and I was like, should I just embrace who I am?
Absolutely.
Yes. That's, to be honest, yes, because that's when because it's like the thing that I've always found with tabletop is like if you embrace like the core piece of your personality, first off, it makes you more comfortable with what you're playing because you're more likely to just instinctively be like, oh yeah, let's do that. But then you like it also without fail opens it up to being like, hey, let's do this crazy thing, and it's completely in character because you're playing you, like it's, but you can still like do those random things. Yeah,
You could like I can really trust my instincts.
yes. Well, I mean, trust instinct. I mean, I don't know. Depends on who you ask.
That's how to play it.
Yeah.
I think. Like, yeah.
Like my brother, we always joke because he is always the character that gets us in the biggest piles of shit in a game. And he is always the character that through some miracle walks away unscathed.
Yeah.
Like he will do the dumbest, like one of the games that I was running for a group of friends, he was playing just as like a one-off character. And they were basically, I think they were like level 6 or 7. They weren't low level, but they weren't like super high. And they were in a tomb, and it was basically like there was this big sarcophagus, and it's like, don't fucking touch this. Like it's a bad thing. Don't touch it. And Ben, my brother, just went over and hit it with an axe. And it's like, God damn it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll roll to see if it, wakes up this, like, it wasn't a full powered lich, but it was like a golem basically. Oh, sure enough, it woke him up, and I'm like, oh, God damn it, okay, I'm gonna try to save them.
You've woken the hive at that
yeah,
point.
and I rolled a thing, and it's like, nope, it's super pissed on top of being woken up, and the entire party, it was a TPK, like total party kill, except for Ben. Ben's character walked out, and I was like, his character was a one game character. Like everyone else had been playing this campaign, and his character is the one that just yeah, walks out. He's just like,
Oh, man.
It was like, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I am fudging as many rolls as I possibly can.
Again, like I'm really embracing this right now from what you're saying. Like I'm feeling some energy from this. The last like true D&D like thing I really did was we were at the Awesome Con here in DC, is our local like cool like Comic Con thing that we finally have. It's like 5 years up now. And they'll do like little one-offs that you can do while you're there.
Yeah.
Time and then go do the thing. And I was a barbarian, because that's like I was like the last one to show up with my girlfriend. And another person was a halfling, and they're like, we kept being in these rooms where like things were like just out of my reach. So I kept picking up the
Throwing
halfling and holding him like up and like throwing him and like getting him in.
It's totally a legit strategy that I have I will completely endorse, because we have done that before. Like,
Toss the dwarf.
No, well, yeah, but you can throw a halfling further.
Sure, but like,
and it's even better
well,
if the
boost the
halflings. The best thing is if the halfling's also a barbarian, because then you get synergy bonuses.
Wait,
for
a
flanking.
barbarian?
Oh,
Halfling.
halfling barbarians are
Aren't they just
adorably
wildlings at that
terrified.
point?
Yeah, pretty much. They're adorably terrified. Like, it's the whole what is it? Spaceballs holding Darth, holding him, and he's like swinging the saber. He's like, that's what it is. Like, you pick them up and they're like, I'm gonna kill you. It's like, no, you're just adorable.
So that just makes me think of, like, because if we all remember brownies of Willow fame,
oh god,
like those are only cute to a point, because mice are not cute.
Meaning brownies as in like the leprechaun type race or whatever.
Yeah, the little guys who like hide in your pockets and steal the baby when the stupid Daikini was taking a pee-pee.
Right.
They're only so cute, but I feel like when something is constantly like baby sized, it just gets like a whole other level of like throwing you off.
Also terrifying.
Yes. Why does this baby have a double-sided axe?
Oh my god. Okay. All right.
Ready?
Yeah. Let's get this.
Nice, Bill.
All right. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on April 22nd, 2020, over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This week's episodes are going to be focused around exploring updates to what we know about the character of Osiris. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the intro session of the week's exploration. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who we all have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And I am the brownie-sized barbarian green-eyed music lover. It's true. It's funny because it's true.
Anyways. And last but definitely not least, in the hot seat as guest co-host, we have our good friend Taylor B. Taylor, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Happy to be here, you guys.
Yeah, it's about time we got you on here, or tricked you on here, or you tricked us on. I don't know how that works.
There was some trickery involved.
A little bit. Some trading, some bargaining.
So, usual introductory question for you, Trey. I need to learn how to talk again. Has it been that long since we've done this? Where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me. I'm the host of the Spinfoil Theory podcast, proud member of the Lore Network. We are available on every major platform, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, whatever your flavor is. You can find us on Twitter at Spinfoil Theory, or email us at spinfoiltheory@gmail.com. You can find me personally on Twitter at thisisredleader, LITRE, all one word.
Yes. All right. Taylor, it's been a while. It's been a long, long time.
A long week?
It has been a long week. It has, and it's Wednesday, which is weird. Hello, future people. We are recording this on Wednesday, so this is not going to be your normal kind of show for sure. But
These are strange quarantine times we live in.
these are strange quarantines.
I like that.
The quarantines of our lives. Because it's all a soap opera anymore. But here's what I want to know. What is your favorite lore story from Destiny?
Ooh, so for me, I really love the Vex, but what really drew me into that was Kabir's fire team. I think that's what really first sort of drew me into Destiny's lore.
Okay.
And it's really funny. So I had just done the raid, and I was a student at the time, and I was in class, and it was just a really boring class. And back then, the Grimoire, you could only read the cards outside of the game. And so, like, I would sit in class when I was bored and just read all my Grimoire cards that I'd never actually looked at.
Nice.
Nice.
So
Nice.
That was the thing that really like sort of sold me on the background stories of Destiny. But Kabir's fire team is probably my favorite. And also, like, this might be an unpopular opinion. I really thought Skolas had a very like well written and well put together like story arc as a villain. I thought that was a really great DLC as well.
House of Wolves was not a bad DLC, I
No,
don't
it
think.
wasn't. I wish we had gotten more on it too, with the Marine.
I wish we would have
especially.
gotten some more information on how those Fallen are apt to take other technology and use it on their own, or use it for their own. But yeah, So would you say that's your preferred story arc on that one?
Yeah, I think Kabir, Fire Team, Pahanen, all those guys are always going to be Pradeath, and if and when Kabir comes back, are always going to be like a very like special spark in my heart. But like day to day, I think the Fallen and their houses are probably my my greatest interest
I
in
gotcha.
game, like while I'm playing.
I gotcha. All right, so we have Guardian games going on right now, so there's a very important question that we always ask everybody, but it's almost more important now. What is the class that you primarily play?
I am a hunter main. I am a gunslinger main. So Way of the Outlaw.
Ooh.
For me, right now I'm really loving that we got sticky grenades back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Unicorn
wearing my
time.
young Aras, and I am turning so many people into lovely, lovely unicorns.
You know what I love is not only are sticky grenades good again, the spike grenades seem to be better. Like, I've actually been able to use them in Crucible, be able to use them like they're intended against a wall, and do some major damage, especially on, I think it's Fragment, that map that has B inside a weird circular dome area. Yeah, so you can nail a spike grenade on the back, one of the void ones, on one of the back walls, and just take out so many people who are trying to get to that heavy spot.
Yo, I dig that. I did not know that because I honestly play the other classes so infrequently unless there's a bounty involved. That any like improvements or changes that are made to them, I'm usually the last one to know.
Yeah, that's the only one that I really knew about.
I have like two classes that I play. I either play Night Stalker in PvE or Blade Barrage in PvP. And it's like,
okay.
Like, I'm just like, and that's mostly just because I don't have to think about it. I have no shame in admitting that either.
I will say and this is totally anecdotal to add to like weird things. I feel like if you're running 6-shooter, I feel like that trip mine throwing knife lasts a little longer too.
Oh yeah, the weighted.
If you're wearing
knife?
the Yahang Kara spines, I feel like it lasts a little longer too because I keep doing this thing, especially in 6s. Like I'm not so great in trials, but like I'm in 6s. I keep like laying little traps for people, and I keep thinking like, man, that knife is lasting way longer than I ever like remember it like, doing before.
Yeah, it's kind of nice though. It's like the same length of time that I think the hammers are for Titans right now. Possibly. All right, so that's all of like the normal questions. I actually wanted to ask you about your podcast. It's the Spinfoil podcast a bit, because not a lot of people have heard of it, I don't think yet, unless they're adamant people of the Lore Network. So I want you to take us through what you like to do when it comes to the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. So, the Spinfoil Theory podcast is just a sort of a 20 to 30 minute short form weekly approach to various spinfoil theories within the Destiny universe. And really, what we go for is just to kind of have fun with the lore. So, we're a little bit of an advanced theory podcast in that, unlike you guys, we don't really teach. We just kind of have fun with the subjects that we sort of assume, like lore fans, like the fans of your show, would be familiar with to begin with. So what we try to do, and Green was a great host of our show, you guys, first special guest we ever had. That
Yes.
yeah. So what we try to do is we'll take a theory that we see popped up on various forums or what have you, and we try to dissect it a little bit. We try to see if we think it's plausible, and then depending on the outcome of the first two parts of that, we'll see if like what we would have to do to make it work. So it's a lot of fun to record, just because you get to be creative within the universe of one of your favorite games. In my case, Destiny, and you get to sort of review the different ideas that fans have about the lore, and you get to sort of give your 2 cents about it. So if you're a fan of spinfoil theories, if you're a fan of stuff that's a little out there, maybe not necessarily confirmed, and you're wondering what the deal is, how plausible is that, I think we might have a place for you in our podcast, just because we cover a lot of different things, very broad. We try to move around our different subjects, and we're at about we're pretty new, so if you haven't heard of us, please don't feel bad.
Yeah.
It's we're pretty
Yeah.
new, but we're about I think we just recorded our 14th episode tonight,
Mhm.
Nice.
and that'll be released on Sunday. And yeah, we plan to keep it going. We even have, just due to these quarantines, as we sort of remarked on earlier, we're planning to do a couple little other special things like we did with Green, just to get a little extra content out there.
You know what I really love about the format that you guys choose to do? I know you say that you're not really taking it super, super serious from the lore perspective, but when you're theory crafting, you do have to approach the story in a different way. So you really get an appreciation for the finer tuned things on how something could be possible, or how to research something to where things that we're predicting ahead of time would theoretically work. You're doing a writer's exercise and trying to figure out ways it could work. That's really kind of a cool way to approach it, and you really have to know your lore to be able to do something like that convincingly.
I really appreciate that. When I first started posting on Destiny lore with my total spinfoil theories and like my various posts, which is actually what got me on to you guys, was
Mhm.
interacting with your post there. At the time, I did quality assurance, and so a lot of what I did kind of played into my like spinfoil theory stuff, was just because I would look at what works, what the process is, and then you can
Mhm.
take those rules and kind of apply it to theory. And
Absolutely.
especially in a writing sense, it was very it was an easy progression for me to sort of transition that over into one of my favorite hobbies.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice that you are able to do that and share that with other people in such a really fun format. So I'm glad that you guys have started doing that. I think it's a long overdue venue to have something more like that out there.
I really appreciate that, and I hope anyone who checks us out, please add us, please reach out to us if there's anything you think we're missing, or if there's any points of view you think we're not really covering in some of our subjects. Like, we are totally open, and we will 100% do retractions and restatements to things in future episodes.
Shout
Yeah.
out the name of it one more time before we kind of go into community stuff for the week.
Yeah, so it's the Spinfoil Theory podcast, Twitter at Spinfoil Theory, Spinfoil Theory at gmail.com, Podbean, the Spinfoil Theory podcast.
Awesome. All right, Blue.
I'm
Blue.
going to regret
Yes.
this.
Guess what?
What?
It's community time.
What's a community?
Or that's fair. And these
Yes.
asking the hard question. All right. So this week Guardian Games dropped, right?
Oh no.
Correct.
Right. So
Oh no.
I haven't asked anything of the community. I'm a little afraid to because
What? Why would this start
There's
a
a-
salt war?
oh my gosh. This is a question
Yesterday
for
was a fun day.
oh
watch
my
Twitter.
God. Oh my God. Here's what I want to do. I want to ask you guys who are live with us in chat. I want to ask Blue and Taylor. And for those of you in the future looking back upon these times and laughing because of all the joyous fun we had during Guardian Games, what do you think of it right now? What is good about Guardian Games and what is constructively not good?
I think it'd be cool if it weren't by itself.
What do you mean?
Like if you look at like content release this season, you have like all the bunker stuff and the different things that you did, and like the most recent was like the most recent like update they had to the season was the third bunker being open, and then like sort of this week they're like, okay, now go like send all the things into space now that the third bunker's done. I feel like if this weren't released by itself in that chain of events, if this were
Yeah.
sort of like if this had been done at the beginning of the season when everything's kind of new, I think it would have been much better received, because like on its face I don't think it's that bad like a content update. It's a little weird, I think, to what Blue was saying in chat earlier. I think it is a little kind of like, hey, so like we can literally see this thing from space, and you guys want to like do a shot put right now. Like,
It's not like doing a shot put at the thing we see in space. No, it's an actual shot put. Like it's
But
yeah, it's an actual shot put. We're gonna do a long jump, but not away from anything.
But guys, let me tell you something. Isn't it the perfect time for Zavathun to distract the Guardians?
yes,
with
I
another
know.
game?
That's what I mean, Green. That's what I mean. I don't have a legit argument, and it.
For anyone who doesn't know, we had Green on the Spinfoil Theory podcast with this theory, and we couldn't come up with anything like legit. Like we couldn't come up with anything to counter her claim.
No,
That
I don't.
even
That's
Levante
like I'm like.
is Zavathun?
Yeah, no. As far as we know, like you have more proof than we have anti-proof.
Yes. I am a bunker of proof. Bring me your war mind bits.
No, seriously, she wants the Warmind bits because.
I'm almost done with bunker 3. I've gotten row 1 done, and all the
nice.
other bunkers are unlocked. So I have 2 more rows left. But
you gotta do it. You gotta
do
it,
the
you
what
gotta
is
do-
it? The
you gotta
last
do it
the
in
lost
rows.
column.
yeah, I
You gotta
did.
do it in columns,
I
not
did.
rows.
Okay.
I did.
I love how
I did.
Taylor and I both are like, no, do columns, not rows.
Well, you do. What I've been doing is I've done the far right column to get
Right,
the
yeah.
discount,
to drop
right?
the price, yeah.
And then I've been unlocking everything just so I can have something building each time. So I've just been going down the row at that point. So I am doing the smart thing of making it cheaper. I'm just unlocking it 1 level at a time.
So I was a total, because I had to do most of that stuff solo. So as soon as I did to make it cheaper, I went immediately to the Rasputin frame and made it so I could do that everywhere.
Nice.
And then the next one after that, I guess, is you got the Valkyrie, and then everything else I didn't care about because I was like, I can summon this stuff and make it way easier to farm.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Was sort of my mindset there. But it's if you don't have to do it solo, though, I think it makes more sense to do it in a different order. I think there's definitely some credence there.
So what do we think about the clearing the bunkers thing this season? Because one of my biggest
Sorry.
we haven't talked this season.
I have
We really haven't.
I have a new light quote about that. Actually.
Ooh,
So
share.
one of
Dish.
our really good friends has some, how would you say it, colorful insights to situations within Destiny, and his initial reaction to the whole clearing the bunker is like, and I'll bleep myself out, but basically, why the hell are we helping an AI who can't keep his own shit clean? Like every day he has to it was like this is the questions that I get sent to me on a hourly basis, and I'm like trying to do work, and he's not wrong. Like I'm like
not wrong.
Well, maybe I'm like I don't have an answer for you other than game mechanics. Like they have to give us something to do. Is like you're 100% accurate on the reasoning here. It's like, yeah, I got nothing for you.
Do you think like because I feel like when we're first clearing out those bunkers in those missions in D1, it was a little more forgivable because he'd been asleep for however long and wasn't even in his whole network.
But the thing is also those were like strikes, so they weren't like it wasn't like every 24 hours. It was like the kind of the feeling was
did it once canonically.
Canonically it was like once maybe twice if it was a revisit strike. And it was like, and they always had like with, I just remember the Saber Strike. It was like, no, they actually cracked open the bunk. Like, I mean, they like the Hive had, or the Fallen had actually gone above and beyond to hack into that. Same with Omnigul, where it was like, they had deliberately punched into the bunker. Whereas here it's like, there's really not even a token explanation of like, oh no, we forgot to close the back door. Just go close the back door. Oh, we forgot the other back door. How many back doors do you have? Like, I'm scared to ask this question, but
I mean, do you really want to know the answer?
No,
at that point?
No, I don't. Actually, now I feel awkward.
Yeah, as you should. Yeah. So the bunkers are a little weird. I'm still freaking pissed about why there's a stupid bunker on Io when there's no other building on the stupid...
With the subway!
With the subway! What is... Guys?
It's like
Where does that train go?
Where does that train go?
I did have somebody in my chat when I was streaming the other day that was like, well, maybe there's like a few buildings in other places that we just haven't been to, which is very possible. Like, sure, but that has more legitimacy in my mind than a freaking. I don't understand a subway that's like 50 feet from the Pyramidion.
So, have y'all ever seen a Dragon Ball Z?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So King Kai and his little planet where he has that tiny little road that just goes around back to his house?
Yeah, but that's a training road.
I think Rasputin has set up because he loves trains that much.
Oh no, he's playing the pain.
Like he's just going back around. Like it's what he does in his downtime. In that just plays trains.
Like I feel like there's a disconnect happening in the design. At that point, like, guys, please explain this.
Well, it's the multiple man theory. So when his mind was defragmented between the planets, like that one was just like, well, I got this train station.
Well,
I have a sub function for controlling subways, but there's no subway. Siva, make me a subway.
To be fair, there is the bunker on the other side. You
mean the side that takes like 10 minutes to walk to?
Yeah, the Cabal station side. There is a bunker over there. So if we're being fair, there's something over there, but it's really weird.
Chat, recently I've been getting into driving.
Oh yeah, in true King Kai fashion.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part about that is he works on it like it has oil and other things that you need to change, but there is no filling station on his whole planet.
Nope.
He's just driving infinitely.
Oh.
I digress.
Yes. All right. I don't want to go on. I'm just gonna keep.
So Guardian games.
Yeah, Guardian games, bounties.
I think the medal system is kind of a weird mask for other bounties. A lot of people's complaints that it's basically faction rallies. I kind of disagree with, because faction rallies were a little more you could choose how you played. Like
Mhm.
you could wear the faction stuff and you could play Crucible, you could play Strikes, you could do whatever you want. That was about repping your faction and everything. And I think that's kind of what they were aiming for in this, but I think they were also kind of trying to
Get people
refresh older content.
get people to play things they may not have played in months,
I
like
think it's a little
Gambit
weird to
or
make us play
Forges.
Forges. Yeah, I'm the weird guy who likes Gambit. I'll raise that hand right now.
The thing is the one thing I do like about this is that I haven't played Gambit in a real long time. I actually enjoyed the Gambit matches I played today.
Dude, regular Gambit's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Gambit
still
Prime's
hate-
painful.
Gambit
Dude, it's
Prime
so
is
painful.
you have to have Divinity. Divinity makes everything easier,
That's
but
like
you
playing
can't turn
Crucible
anything
without
around.
Hardlight.
right?
Yeah.
That last
it
night
can be
I
done.
was I do it every day. It's like every time I play Crucible, it's without Hardlight. I don't play with Hardlight. I don't whatever. But like yesterday, I actually jumped in and played a little bit, and I got just so frustrated because it's one thing, like I don't care if it's like an archetype thing where it's like bows are really powerful, whatever. You'll still see different combinations. But
Sure.
that particular one does seem to me that was a very big frustration, because it was like it also doesn't help that I keep running into like 6 stacks of Hardlight players, which it's like, well, I'm just gonna sit down.
It is
Like,
fun.
when the entire team has it, it's just
It is fun. It is a lot of fun to use, I will say that.
It's I mean I all right, so like I full disclosure, I use it especially when I play on PC, because I'm a heathen who plays with a controller on PC.
I do
Nice.
too.
Nice.
I-
That's
well,
the only way I would.
mean, yeah, no, dude. Like, I think especially if like you invest in a controller, it's a totally different experience. But that's a different conversation. But I use it just because I have that Crucible Radio mentality. Like, if it's the best thing, use it. Like, use it. Dude, like, I'm not saying like you shouldn't say it shouldn't be changed. You don't have to love it, but
Oh,
like,
yeah,
if it's
yeah.
the best thing, use it. Like, do it.
The other thing that I would say is that I played with Man at Arms the other day on PC, and we were using our normal loadouts, which I don't normally use Hardlight. But we were running into some matches where that's all that the other team was using, like you were saying. And so we decided, after we got wrecked by these guys in one match, that we were going to stay in the queue with them and all put on Hardlights. And we ended up just totally kicking their tails, just wiping the floor with them. And immediately went back to our old loadouts, just to say that, we play with what we like. We understand that this is good and we can use it just as well as anybody else, but we're still going to go back and kind of do our own thing. Like, it's okay to play with it when you want to, just for fun. If you feel like that's the last resort you got, go back to it, like Truth in Gambit or Xenophage, because holy moly, that gun.
You know what I like in Gambit right now? Fourth Horseman.
Yeah, it's
It
good.
melts everything. Everything PvE wise. I won't say it's the best thing for invaders, but like, oh my god, because I'm a sentry. If you guys knew this about me, I have my jersey.
I rep with you.
Thank you. We need to play some Gambit. We'll have some fun. Because we'll actually stop people from wrecking our team.
Right?
But that thing melts all of the blockers they send, and then when you're saving your heavy, because you should have some heavy for invaders, you can just use it to go run up and melt the boss. Like, it's great. Absolutely great.
It is good. All right. So, I think we've kind of filled up the opening section enough of this episode. Let's do a small update for the intro episode, guys, on Osiris. Blue.
Man, it's been, I'm trying to remember. It's been a while, since we've like done a full episode on Osiris himself. So like, just kind of I wrote a quick summary and I actually have this in the mind map as well. And so there's a lot of information that we've gained in Destiny 2 in general, like about specific guardians, and Osiris is no exception to that. And so to kind of go back to one of the original Grimoire cards, it asks, what drives a warlock to madness? Ghosts chose those suited to war and heroism to be reborn. By nature or circumstance, they go to battle against the darkness, and through this battle, they learn how to use the light. But warlocks, by their nature, fight a second internal war. This is the war to understand a universe of secrets, a world that expects guardians to fight without full knowledge of what they are or what they might hope to achieve. A lot of people like that because of the whole "what drives a warlock to madness" piece. But the above excerpt from that card, which is the Osiris card, showcases that which haunts warlock the most is actually knowledge. So as a mighty warrior that fought at the Battle of Six Fronts, Satan 14 requested that the speaker make Osiris the Vanguard mentor for all warlocks. He was actually the first Vanguard mentor for warlocks. This action, however, did not come without a pushback from the Concordat, but with the support of all the others within the consensus, the warlock Osiris was placed as mentor for those of his classification. This is also where you see probably the first, if not the official recognition of classifications within the Risen. And so this allowed Osiris to oversee all activities relating to warlocks as well as other guardians as well. So this is also probably where you can make a pretty strong argument that the group of the Hidden was formed. Shortly following this, Saint 14, who was the Vanguard mentor for Titans and also the first Vanguard commander, stepped down. Actually, it was a day after. They announced everything, and then Saint 14 was like, "Yep, okay, cool. I'm gonna go do my crusade." Basically, he was like, "All right, cool. That's fun. I'm gonna go off." And so he stepped down, and as the commander, he basically was able to sidestep the consensus and elevate Osiris to Vanguard commander, which there's a lot of questions on that I have politically, but I don't think I don't think Saint 14 originally intended to do that, even though it might seem a little bit shady. But anyways, however, Osiris actually quickly came to odds with the speaker. He was already kind of at odds with the speaker, but it became much more prevalent and much more noticeable. A large part of that was disagreement on the focus of the energy of the Guardians. The Seekers sought to defensively protect the city and its inhabitants, where Osiris kind of more saw the need for a more aggressive approach. In addition, the two disagreed as to the greatest threat. The Speaker kind of focused and saw the movements of the Hive above on the moon as more ominous and more direct threat, while Osiris grew more and more concerned with the machinations of the Vex upon Mercury. The other thing that Osiris did is he did not restrict his new power as Vanguard commander to just the search of knowledge. He was also in search of understanding and learning of the exact nature of the darkness. Knowledge can be acquired simply through mindless research of text and studies of others. True understanding requires one to ask hard questions and find answers to those questions. And that's what Osiris began to do. Osiris began asking hard questions and trying to find the answers. This ultimately led him down a path which diverged him and other Guardians from their normal duties, which in turn led to a very powerful disagreement between him and the Speaker, culminating in Osiris leaving the tower in exile following his repeated shirking of political duties in favor of pursuing his research. We saw that in particular within the webcomic, which, we can all disagree or agree or whatever we want. We all have opinions on how that was presented. But that was what was happening in the webcomic, was basically he kept shirking his political duties because he saw political actions as a waste of time when the battle was needed to be fought. And so because of that conflict between him and the Speaker and between him and the consensus, he basically was forced out, if you will. However, it is worth noting that within Trials and Tribulations, we do see Osiris defending the Vanguard and defending the consensus against the disciples. When Sister Feora makes a comment about, they'll get what's coming to them, Osiris is very quick to point out there is no acrimony between me and the Vanguard. I chose to walk away. Like he's very quick to point to that and to basically reprimand the disciples, who he doesn't have a very high opinion of to begin with, but he's very, very quick to put them, to put that away, like shutter that up, and then he basically then proceeds to give them the task of monitoring the lighthouse, and also researching stuff there. But I found that very interesting, because it does confirm that, I think, Taylor, you had said something about this earlier about how, like, the more you read about Saint 14, it's like, yeah, Saint 14's kind of like, he doesn't really hold a grudge. Like, he just kind of, he does what needs to be done.
Yo, he's the most wholesome dude in this whole lore.
Right?
He really is, and which makes me, which I love, because I think you were talking about, what is it, the maintenance log thing where Osiris kind of reprimands Saint 14 for not going to seek out the House of Light, and he's like, I don't want to talk to him. And Osiris is like, just go talk to him.
Just go talk to him.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, I think that if Saint would get over his understandable hesitation there and actually initiate a conversation with Mithrax, I think he and Mithrax would actually be, I don't know if they would be best buddies, but they would probably form a pretty good team.
Dude, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like he has this he even in his own dialogue, he hates the Fallen, but he's such a good fucking dude. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good. You're
I
good.
didn't mean to do that.
You're
But he's
good.
such a good freaking dude. Well, because on ours you can curse, so sorry. But he's such a good freaking dude. Like, I feel like he's not mad at the Vanguard. He was able to leave the Vanguard, like, at least as far as we know, without the Vanguard having any animosity to him, and he's the only person who's been able to do that, unless they died.
Well, he didn't exactly leave the Vanguard. He disappeared in some,
Who,
just
Saint?
like Blue was going over, he gave up his
Oh no,
position.
Saint walked away because
Saint stepped down. Okay.
Yeah, he stepped down, but he stepped down because, which I find that really entertaining, because Saint basically was the one that everyone wanted in the position of all this stuff, and Osiris was the one that no one wanted in position, and Osiris ends up, and actually, to be 100% transparent, Osiris also didn't really want to be in that position.
No.
And the thing is like, that's what I think a lot of people gloss over, is like, with the Concordat and their whole fascination of Osiris being a failed Golden Age experiment, and that whole slander campaign against him.
Right. Here's
a lot of people, it's like Osiris legitimately wasn't interested in the politics, and that's ultimately what got him kicked out, was because he didn't want to play the game.
I think it's within the realm of possibility that if you go back to the argument that the Concordat's making, right? He's a failed Golden Age experiment. I think now more than ever that is possible that the writers might go that direction.
I mean, if he's a resurrected failed Golden Age experiment, like an engineered human or what have you, like, this is not to say I suspect that, everyone listening and here right now. I'm just saying, like, that's an example of something that could be like what they may have meant, how the writers choose to use it. I think there's a lot there. Like, I kind of hashtagged when we started sympathy for Lysander, because that's one of our topics that we have on the list over on the other show. But it's definitely interesting that Osiris left the Vanguard, but he did it under this, like, big cloud, big negative cloud, right?
Right.
There's a lot that, like, came with that, whereas Saint was able to do it no problem.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, and so the other thing that always bugs me about Lysander is actually, like, so I want more detail on what is causing the beef between the two of them, which actually begs the question, like, all the faction reps that we have are all mortal. They're not risen. Is Lysander a risen? I can't remember in Lysander's cry, did we get any indication
We
if
don't
he
know one
was
way
or
or the
not?
other.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think we got.
Because I'm
an
like,
indication.
know one
I'm
way or the
sitting
other.
there and I'm sitting here, and the only reason I bring that up is because I'm like, why is he like he definitely has a chip on his shoulder when it comes to Osiris. It seems that way from what we've seen so
Sure.
far. And I'm like,
I mean, if
why?
I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, go for it.
I will put out there that the chip on his shoulder that we've heard about has only come from other sources, never from him.
This is true.
That's
in his letter
true.
to us, he never talks about Osiris. He like in anything that
That's
he's
fair.
directly written, he never even mentions him.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a fair point.
This may just be more of a power struggle that may be
Mhm.
something more political rather than detrimental.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I would expect him to have more of a problem with New Monarchy than with Osiris.
Oh man, I won't go into my new monarchy theories.
Someday we shall.
I won't. No. You're a gracious host. I won't offend you with my
No, you're
ideas.
good. You're good. At someday we will go into those. Maybe not this day, but someday.
It will not be
I
this
was gonna say,
day.
we've already recorded an episode on it on my show. So
Oh really? Oh, I better go. I better go defend my honor.
Well, it only depends. You're only defending it depending on your political leanings. Like you might agree.
Oh yeah,
That's
that episode.
fair.
That was a
Yeah.
good episode, actually. I
Thank
remember
you.
that episode.
I mean, I hope they're all good, but thank you.
No, I mean, yes, they are.
I'm
But-
teasing. I know
Yeah,
what you
no.
meant.
But I remember that episode because I remember listening to it, and I'm like, yes, like this is an important distinction that regardless of how you whatever side you lean on as far as the multifaceted
Faction awards or whatever.
Well, it's not even
Mhm.
faction war. I mean, just political spectrum in general. But like the definitions that like you and Bagels did with, when you say fascist, when you say this, that whole thing. It's like, yes, that was
Yeah, and
definitely worth it.
I really appreciate that, and we tried to be very very specific in that. But back to like Sander and that stuff. I think after all we've learned about the speaker and
Mhm.
subsequently, I feel like anything that comes out of his mouth can like until you know at least from like a couple other sources that you like trust in game in the narrative. I feel like that can all be taken as propaganda because we know that's what he spins.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean it's. Yeah.
So like him hating Lysander to me after all that we've learned, I'm kind of like, ooh, maybe he wasn't such a bad dude.
now that now some more cards are on the table, maybe we aren't
Yeah.
necessarily.
Yeah, maybe he had something there.
Maybe. All right. So, how do we want to? Do we want to talk about his before he gets to the city? Because you guys kind of hinted a little bit about like that, his story within Trials and Tribulations, but we didn't actually talk about Pigeon and the Phoenix at all. Or do we want to wait until
I'd
the
say
advanced
let's do an analysis because the timeline. I love saying this about a Bungie game. The timeline's actually a little bit clearer when it comes to Osiris with the Pigeon, the Phoenix, and Trials and Tribulation. There's a few things that got a little murkier as far as like specific events, but overall we have actually a pretty interesting picture that has been painted for Osiris. And I'm actually really excited about that because that was part of the reason I updated the mind map was to lay out a bit of that clarity because it's like we actually kind of know what's going on. It's really, really exciting. But I think that would probably be I think that's probably going to be more advanced episode or advanced session.
I dig that. Sorry, that snicker was not at what you said. It was at you rocketing yourself and your enemy.
Listen,
Yeah.
when all else fails, I will throw a rocket right at my feet.
Oh no, dude! You turned around and he was in your face. That's what any sensible person would have done.
I was like,
any sensible person, I shall kill us both.
Yeah, like
that's
like,
the Halo
take it
training
with you,
for me.
Like, yeah. I'm not judging you at all. That's like you were me in that moment. Like,
Oh shit.
All right. So shout outs for the intro session.
Taylor, do you have any shoutouts?
I want to give a shout out to back on my show, my co-host The Bagels. I want to give a shout out to you guys for hosting me and the Greater Lore Network for just being so supportive and so great with all of our
Ooh.
efforts. I think
I
it's
like
all of
the Greater Lore Network.
thank you.
Sorry.
That's
Marketing scheme.
Hey, look! I just got the Triumph Focused Fire.
I have a customer service background. I know. you gotta mark all your bases. But anyway,
I like it.
no. Very, very seriously, I do
Yeah.
really thank you guys. I'm very proud to be a part of the Lore Network. I'm very proud to be associated with your show and to be a guest host on here. So like all of my thanks and shout outs go right back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Blue, do you have any shout outs?
Anyone who is going to respond to my really weird asinine questions about dialogue quotes on the website, which you will probably, by the time this comes out, you will probably be used to seeing me posting very often about them. I'm trying my best to figure out a way that both encapsulates the total, like the sheer number of quotes that we have for characters, that currently there's really not a archive anywhere in a text sense. But I'm also trying to make it where it's actually not overly daunting for people who just want to see what the characters are saying in like in-game cutscenes and stuff. Which is a very weird medium, or a very weird line to try to walk. So I posted that actually tonight, which by the time you guys are hearing this episode will be a week or two. But I will be probably following up with other alternatives and just trying to get a feel for how to best use the Lore Network site to accomplish that. But just big thank you for anyone who has opinions on that and who's already provided or will be providing constructive feedback on how to do that better.
I have two questions for you, Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, this is episode 200, yeah?
Yep.
Dude, happy 200 episodes, everyone.
You.
Like,
My wife was like, "So episode 200 is going to be Osiris?" I was like, "Yes." She's like,
It's rather
I like
poetic.
that. I'm like, I like that symmetry of that. She didn't understand that, but I thought it was nice.
You were right, though.
I know. I was like, I like that symmetry, and I kind of chuckled to myself and then walked away because she didn't understand it.
I really like that. No, like, super honored to be on your 200th episode. By the way, like, that's amazing. But like, so like that's an effort, and if everyone listening just gives you guys like a little clap, you deserve it.
That is awesome. I want recorded claps on Twitter. No,
Recorded
I
claps?
don't
Recorded
do
claps?
that. Please don't do that. Please.
No, do it. She asked for it. Wait, that's weird. Don't record me as saying that. She
Clip it.
No.
Yeah, no.
And Taylor now figures out the dangers of streaming.
Right?
I know. I can never take it back. We've been a record game this whole time. My second question for you would the term for someone that invested and knowledgeable about dialogue be like a dialogian, like a theologian, but with dialogue?
I like that.
I have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings about it. Because it's dialogian.
Dialogian. It just rolls off the tongue.
Does it? Like longes. I can't ever say it.
Lozenges?
Thank you. That's one word I actually have a
Oh.
real tough time
Just
of
say
saying.
cough drop, buddy. Don't torture yourself.
I mean, I try. Anyway.
I'm totally looking this up.
Shout outs.
If it's a word.
I'm totally looking this up to see if it's already
Yo, I coined
it is.
Merriam-Webster. It's a
word? It is a word. It is
I'm not
a Whoa. Calm down there.
In this case.
In this case, yeah. It's a not oh man. This is gonna go down a rabbit hole of it's a genitive singular form of dialogi, which is a nominative plural of dialogus, which is meaning
As one does.
Yeah, obviously. Dialogi is dialogue or dialogue. So technically,
I think all right, so in those instances where like you come up with something independently of something that was already had been come up, I just want to note that right now.
It's finished. So I don't know if it's actually the word that it's spelled the way that you would spell it.
I'm just saying, like, I independently came up and coined.
I get credit for this.
Well, it's like an honorable mention, really. It's
An honorable mention.
yeah, it's
You
like
know what?
it's like when two peoples come up with like ancient warfare. Like they both did it without the influence of the other, but the one did it first.
It might become a thing. I mean, there's so many things from this show and like just streamers and stuff like that that have become legit things in game. You think about Bungie has the freaking crayon joke in Bungie. They talk about crayons. They said it in one of the promos for the Guardian Games events. One of the Titans mentioned it. Like
Bungie is number one in games that I've played that interact with their player base.
Right.
I totally love it.
Yeah,
Oh,
they are, I would argue, probably up there with second to none as far
right,
as
Spinfoil.
Spinfoil.
The only other company is of Titanfall fame. So yeah, without plugging other companies.
Right. But that's what I mean is like they listen to us.
Okay.
Your dialogian may actually become a thing in Bungie. You may become the next crayon.
Dude, if Warlocks become
Taylor's like, what?
If Warlocks have a dialogian subclass, I am totally here for it.
That
All they do is orate. They don't actually attack anything.
they're the bard. They're the bard.
No, they're not that rhythmic. They're more.
They're not that rhythmic.
So they're Rand Paul? What? No.
Oh no.
I don't know.
Oh man, Green. What about you? Shoutouts.
Shoutouts to the community. Like right now you may not seem like it's a big thing because everyone's a little salty, but shoutouts to the community for like raising so much money during these Bungie bounties that are going on for the COVID research, and just people who are reaching out to others right now when they're not necessarily that kind of person. They're not going to reach out to people. They don't feel like they can any other time, and now they can. People are making themselves more available. So shout out to you guys, the Destiny community, our community, just for being the awesome yous that you are, because that is great grammar. But shout out to you guys. Blue, you want to take us home?
So I want to again thank you for your time, and until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer, stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring.
By the way, Doom, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Doom immediately clapped and recorded it for us.
Yes.
Taylor.
I love
Yes.
Doom. I love him to death.
Doom, you need to get a soundboard and just like put your claps on claps, and then also send that to them. So it's like a whole chorus of you giving applause.
Oh God.
If other people submit claps, add them to the chorus.
We're just gonna have this like dubstep.
It's a
song.
chorus. It's
claps.
all right. If y'all are musically inclined, yes, please do get creative. I didn't want to put that much pressure on anyone because not everyone was in band.
I don't think you have to be in band to be creative when it comes to music with the way that loops work anymore, but that's just me.
Oh, yes.
What?
Yes, no. Yes,
Auto-tune? What?
yes, literally green. Yes, literally.
Yes. I know.
I would have included personal bands. Like,
There you
not just
go.
school.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. Whatever. I am at the bottom of the leaderboard right now. I'm trying
What?
to focus.
How am I above
Blue.
you?
Because
Blue. Blue, you
What?
gotta hang back with that bow, Hoss. I've been watching this whole time. I don't want to say it on record, but you gotta hang back.
No!
yeah.
You're
I want to
too
go
aggressive
touch
with
him.
that bow.
I want to go touch him.
Okay, but then you need a different
Somebody
weapon, don't
clip
you?
that.
Touch him. Touch him.
I want to go touch him. It's in a loop now. It's on someone's soundboard. But no. I'm watching you play this whole time, and the whole time I'm like, you would win if you were farther back.
No.
Yep. You have
See,
to play mid-range.
see,
really
you were
have
further
to play
back, and you kicked his ass, Seabass. That's all I'm saying.
What was that spawn-in animation? That was a cool one. Looked like a
Have you seen
The cherry
demented.
blossom one, since I couldn't go see the cherry blossoms here in DC this year.
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Oh no, dude! Like I live down the street from them. Like they're great, but like it's not worth risking myself. Great. Like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can drive by them very safely.
you're like, there's the trees.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bad grenade. Bad grenade. I thought that was a friendly grenade. It wasn't a friendly grenade.
I'm going to take just a minute here to hit the restroom between recordings. but I'll
Yes,
be
I
right
need to as well.
back.
Stunk.
So as soon as we finish this match,
Oh, no. They trying to sneak.
are they trying to sneak? There's some up top.
Where'd he go? There he is. Oh, shit. There's more than one of them in there. Oh, no.
He's up.
Nope. That's a golden gun. Run away. Oh. How the hell did he shoot me with a shotgun from that range?
What shotgun was it?
I don't know. Chaperone?
Because that's why.
I got rockets.
Nice. I have a bow. And a really sneaky way of moving.
Where'd he go?
Because
Oh,
who'd
that
have
was a
thought
shit
if you
shot.
Use the smoke the correct way.
Ow. What the fuck? Oh, that's Siva mites. Oh, I have a super. That's good to know. Try to remember to use that before the match is over.
Damn. There's only 4 of us. What happened to our team?
Boop,
Raz
boop.
might hurt you. Why would Raz hurt you, Black Flag?
Yay. Ow! Come out. Oh, okay.
How are we doing this?
Doing what?
We're 4 to 5 right now as far as like people in match, and we're winning.
Oh yeah, we have more targets. That's how it always works.
Keep winning.
That's why in Halo, if you are in SWAT match and you get into a team with 2 against 4, it's like, yep, you're not gonna win that.
Hey, Dead Again also sent us clapping.
Yay!
Love it. I want seriously, if no one else does it, like link me to all those. I'm going to amalgamate all the different claps in a chorus. I'm calling it a chorus. That's what it is officially. A chorus of claps
A chorus of claps.
for the focus fire.
They're
chat.
going to the
They can be focus
heavy.
fire claps. Boom, hashtag right there. I don't know how like like active that's actually going to be, but it sounds great.
Oh,
does sound
that's
good.
Sentinel.
Oh shit. There below.
I have to tone down a little of my volume and my exuberance. My
You
girlfriend let me
think?
know because I'm on East Coast time, so it's like 12. It's about 12:30 here.
I got
And
you.
yeah, even though we're working from home, apparently I was being too loud a little too late.
Whoopsie.
Well, yeah, no, you can't take it back.
Right.
Where'd you go?
They're back here. I've pushed them back behind B.
Go away!
Oh, you almost have him. Nice.
No, 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 no. Orbs, yes! Oh god, they're behind me. Ah! Oh, I nearly got out of there.
Oh,
I was right at the corner.
Lou, what leg mods do you run?
I don't know.
I'm not gonna try and like change your life in Crucible. So like, I hope you don't think it's gonna be like this type of conversation. All I'm saying is, I feel like if you gave yourself a little
We won.
poppy secondary over the over the hand cannon, since you really favor that bow, and there's nothing wrong with that. Bows are great.
Leg mods?
And then
I have
if you
mobility
get like traction,
and primary ammo and hammer of Warmind.
Traction would be good with
If
as
you
much
just
as
have
he's running
traction-
up into him.
yeah, because
I
if
don't
you're
know
running
what
that
any
bow,
of that means.
you could dip around because it
Traction-
increases your sprint speed regardless of your mobility.
Yeah. So traction is what Mida multi-tool does to you, essentially. So you know how much faster you move with Mida? That's traction. So if you put those on your boots, that might help your
I don't think I
ability
have
to get
that.
in and out of areas.
So
Let's
like
also
like
pull out a queue so I can go to the restroom, please.
so like to add to what Green was saying, so like traction is kind of like it only boosts your sprint, whereas like things like the first perk in Mida, like they increase your what's the word, your neutral movement, so like your standard mobility. So like if you're running that bow and you're like picking around corners, right, that sprint's going to be like a lot more crucial than your normal mobility stat, because then you can like run from like spot to spot and you can get away from people who might be trying to close in on you a little faster.
Oh, yeah. Okay, where is traction go? Where's which?
So I don't have it either. It's something you have to get. It
Okay.
used to be something that appeared on things. So if it
Is it in the first slot?
I believe yes.
Okay,
It's
cool.
something you could get from Banshee.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for it.
Oh, dude, I've been checking there for weeks, and he still hadn't sold it. I'm the saddest boy. I've been
That's
wanting
very
it since
rude.
they switched, because I used to have traction on my
Green said
old
I should
stuff,
try
on
the
my Armor 1
Bombardiers.
stuff. Yeah.
Also,
I think
this cunning revelry cloak is.
Oh, dude, no, I put an ornament on it.
I finally
My dude looks like a
brought
little
the
mini Master Chief.
I finally put the Lux ornament on the cloak.
So I use I maybe I can find like a screen cap to post in the chat or something. But so like my guy's a hunter, right? He's pretty Star Warsy, kind of like, a little like dingy, like what have you. But I took the Guardian Games hunter helmet, and I had already been using the Gambit Blackguard shader.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah,
it's like almost the same yellow as that ring on the helmet that you can't change. And so
Nice.
I put on the as the ornament for my Guardian Games cloak. I put on the special ornament from Season of the Undying. I think that's season 8. with like the little antenna in the back and like
Yes,
so I look like a little, like,
yeah.
yeah, so like it's almost the same yellow, and I look like a little like Master Chief with like playing
you guys-
radio.
Have you seen the picture of the jacked up hunter where it's like it looks like a Titan?
Yo, I'm here
But-
for it. Let me see this.
I'll have to see if I can find it real quick. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. But it was like, it was this hunter who's like massive armor on the top and then itty bitty hunter legs.
I love it.
Oh, I don't know. Of course, I'm not going to probably be able to find it.
No, I'd have to load up a game to take a screenshot. I can take that screenshot, yeah, for the show notes if anyone's interested. No, it's like you don't have to do that. Nobody cares.
Oh, you're taking a picture of the show notes?
No. I was saying I'd take a picture of my like little Master Chief hunter, but I'd have to load up the game and then screenshot it. And I've got green shots, so that's a whole other like thing I have to deal with. If you guys don't know, green shot's really awesome. It's a thing where you hit print screen and then you can like choose what you capture from your screen. But if you're playing a video game that has a like Destiny that has a pre-function for print screen, it just crashes your game sometimes.
It just crashes everything.
In case you were interested.
In case you were curious.
In case you want to know about the thing that will crash your game.
Oh, I
Every
can't
once
find
in
it.
a
I'm gonna
while.
have to see if I can find it later. But yeah, like it's this picture from I think it was like Trials or something. But this hunter looks absolutely terrifying because it's like, is that a Titan? No, he's got the Lux Hunter cloak.
Oh no!
It's like, oh my god.
No.
Oh,
Does it bother anyone else that the chest is just a leather vest?
I love the chest.
No, like all right. So I'm here for the aesthetic. I'm not complaining about like how it looks. All I'm saying is
But
like
armor?
just like there's no way that protects you from space. That's all I'm saying.
No, not at all.
Like you are not going on the actual moon with that.
Does it matter when you're a guardian? Like, does it? We come back from the dead.
I'm saying like you're gonna be coming back a lot more often with a vest.
But we're gonna look good doing it. I love the leather. It's my outfit right now. Like,
Oh my.
if Blue would inspect my character, everybody in the chat could see, but yes. I enjoy my I don't like the cloak that I'm being forced to wear for Guardian games, but
Put an ornament on it.
Oh yeah, put the ornament. Yeah, 100% what I did.
oh really?
That's what I did.
didn't
Oh
know.
yeah,
I didn't even
I
think
did.
about it.
I pulled it out
but-
and I was like, what is this nonsense? Ornament time.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not doing that.
Oh, so did y'all notice how
You
even
got the
though they had
ghost.
said
I
ahead
do
of
have the
time-
ghost.
Oh, so the ghost, everyone get the ghost from this event. I don't think it matters what class, but it's the best combination of ghost skills. It has speed demon and guiding light.
Yes,
like
it does.
default.
Oh.
Default skills.
Yep.
Yeah, and those are
think-
you used to have to like cheat and hack your ghost through
Oh, I
the,
have
outside-
telemetry and guiding light.
Well, all right, so the other one's better.
Yeah. Wait, Speed Demon, is that the one that summons
And-
faster?
and-
Summons
summon.
your your sparrow
It
and
is pretty
reloads all your
awesome.
stuff.
There we go.
Like it's hands down, at least like for day-to-day use, in my opinion, the best perks. And it used to be you had to cheat and hack your totem shell
Thank you for
from
the
the
bits.
Bungie app. Well, because back then, if you selected it, you could change what the perk was for the totem shell. They fixed that, but they like left it for anyone who had changed it, which is great. But this is like one of the two. I think the only other one was like that first week of the moon ghost shell, like the
Oh, really?
projection.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
I'm still confused about the Titan and Warlock ghosts, because what are those things attached to?
Well, I mean, the lion and the
Yeah,
warlock.
like I'm
Lion's
not
holding
like
on with his paws.
I'm just confused how that works.
There's a lot of things in this game. I'm confused how it works.
Yo,
That is the least of my
Subways
worries.
on IO.
Yes.
Subway's on IO.
Fuck.
Yo, I just want to know where the other stations were. Like, are there any other stations?
I just want to know, like, is this what happened to frickin' Venus? Like, they just took the Venus subway and just ported it over to frickin' Io for some reason because that was a good idea to somebody. Like,
Oh man, that would make me giggle in a lot of ways, since like there's like literal maps that are meant to be mirrors from Venus in Crucible.
mm-hmm.
It's
I
just like, no,
miss-
it's just the same thing here.
Yeah, see, Orchid has the
The lion one. Honestly,
it's
I
not
think that would
attached
make-
at all. Like, it
No,
does-
like he's using the force. He's just got it. He's like, he's actually holding the ghost shell. You got it all wrong.
He is in the process of perpetually falling around. The ghost creates its own gravity. Maybe.
So what you're saying is he threw himself at the ghost and missed?
Sounds like a Titan
flying
shoulder
now.
charge, not gonna lie.
I don't get why Titans are lions. I think they're more like bulls.
in a China
Lions
shop.
operate in packs and have like organization and like hierarchy and all this other stuff. And I mean, like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem very Titany to me. I don't feel like a lion would eat crayons.
But
Now I have
my
the
opinion.
picture of a bull instead of a lion.
Yeah, like a bull in a china shop sounds like a total
Yep,
Titan thing
that's-
to do. Like that's just all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
yeah.
I love Spence. Spence is just like, God damn it.
Sigh.
Yeah. Titans are fertilizer for the wall.
Oh.
Well, how else is the wall gonna grow?
That's what I was just thinking.
Still, I actually really hate that part of the lore. I hate that the wall is basically the Great Wall of China, and instead of any other class, it's just Titans.
I feel like it's that thing, like, I don't know if you guys watched, like, Attack on Titan, the anime, but I feel like it's that thing where, like, the
Yes.
Titans, like, solidified themselves in the wall.
Oh,
And they're just
wow.
living wall Titans now, and they can't do anything else, or else the last city falls.
They're god, like
It's
Titan.
over with.
Just their ghosts are there, like this is the dumbest idea you've ever
This is
had.
the dumbest.
Oh, no, they're ghosts.
Right?
No, their
Ghost
ghost,
is
she gone.
hilarious.
Like, she gone. Like, she left them a long time ago. She's off helping the network now. They are a wall. There is no...
Literally.
I am still, speaking of ghosts, I am still mad no one is addressing this guardian we're about to murder by bringing down the Almighty. The one who's stuck
Right?
in, like,
Well,
the time
The question
stop.
the question is if we destroy the Almighty, does that mean that Guardian can finally be revived?
Alright, so here's a big question. Do you need a piece of the
Ooh.
guardian's body to revive them?
Yes.
Okay, so if I feel like whatever we do to the Almighty, that body's gone.
That's true.
Unless
Because-
they left like their pinky with their ghost like a
Well-
genius.
It's just Deadpool. He comes back and he's
oh
just
my god. Dead,
he's just
and
a psychopath.
Wolverine. Wolverine does
No,
it too.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like why can't you like cut
Well,
off your finger
I
or
know
something,
know
leave it
that
with your ghost and then just go do whatever you want.
listen, we're already borderline liches as it is, okay?
a little bit.
like if we're
Little
gonna
bit.
just do this. Jesus.
I'm just saying, do you need bone? Like what?
Well,
do you-
because there
how
was
much
there
do you
is the
need?
ghost that revived the one Titan in the EDZ because it was about to get atomized, or she was about to get atomized, but that was for the
Mhm.
initial resurrection. So I don't know
Or
if
how
secondary resurrections, you have to have stuff. Because I mean,
Also,
technically, if
Like,
you're
is
in
it, like,
Crucibles,
uploaded in the memory?
Here's
Right.
a question. What happens to the body once the new body is resurrected? Does it deatomize?
yeah, the architects
no,
take it and eat it.
Your bones are still in that car.
Right, but
Even in D2, your bones are still in that car.
but like not necessarily the first resurrection, but like every other one afterwards. So say you die in the pit, the Crota pit, right? Like with the thrall and the lanterns back in D1.
All the bodies at the bottom of the tower.
All the
from
bodies,
jumping off.
Right, like does your body disappear after the new one's been
No,
risen?
that's fertilizer for the tower.
No, no.
Yo,
What the fuck is wrong with you?
that would be the most ominous way to cross like the pit of going into like.
We wouldn't have to
You
worry
just
about
kept
the.
jumping into it till you filled it up,
Oh my god,
and you
we
just
wouldn't
walk across like some kind of Caligula.
No, we wouldn't have to worry about the fucking darkness and the pyramid ships and Vex and shit. We would just overrun the fucking planet with our dead bodies with as many times as we've died.
No. You know how much equipment we would have though? You just
That's
be
what
like,
Zur
I only have
is.
one of
Zur
this-
is going
I only have-
around taking the dead
He's
people's
just-
stuff and
oh,
reselling it.
He's a
Yo,
grave
his
robber.
will and his
That's
stuff
what
is
I've
not his
said.
own.
I've said that about Zur so many times.
His will and his items are not his own. It's because you died. And you guys, the only thing your ghost thinks to like
Yeah, it was
deatomize
it was
and
the
save for later is
DQLR
your
we went
sparrow.
over this with Zur. I was like, he just steals it off all the dead guardians and goes around and
I
sells
feel-
it back to his friends.
So I think demonstrably the only thing your ghost can like summon and desummon without any like effect to the game is your sparrow. Because Eris loses her ship because Argos didn't bring that back. That's not something like they materialize apparently.
I don't think you can materialize the ship. I don't think that's actually
I think
coded
it-
within the ghost. I think that literally
Well, because
is
the transmat has a threshold. That's why. That's the explanation in game of why you can only carry so many weapons.
But what I'm thinking of is like you don't see them like summoning that big of an object, and you don't see them like breaking down your body if you're dead. You just see them resummoning it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you see them break down if it doesn't explode first is your sparrow.
So the
If
only
it
thing
does,
you
I
can-
like the qualifier. If it doesn't explode first.
Yeah,
Yeah, because then you have a cooldown, right? Because he has to call
Because
it
he
in or
has to-
whatever.
because it's like, all right, man,
It's
like I
like,
gotta build this for something
motherfucker.
else
You have
now.
You have to digitally 3D print it back into
Yeah,
existence.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh god. Okay.
I love
we should talk about Osiris again.
everyone is like disturbed by the idea of bodies not deatomizing.
It's so terrifying. Like Plague, the last city would be like The Witcher. You just don't know which one of the little grave monster things are going to come up, aka guardians.
I mean, let's be honest. The methane ocean would be filled on
Right?
Titan. There would be no more liquid mass. There would just be dead guardian bodies, like forming some sort of raft. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's like the 2-liter
trash.
bottle, the 2-liter bottle rafts that they use to get to places.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
or like the.
Love how
little
Green's like,
trash-
stop.
You know, I bet the Titans would float better than anybody else.
Is it
That's
because
true.
their brains are more hollow?
I was thinking because their armor has pockets of air in it. It looks like
Well,
fucking
yeah, with those
shit.
shoulder
Like what?
pads,
Right? Like, there's gotta be some like flotation device built into the shoulder pads on some of these things, just in case they fall in the water and they can't swim.
So are you
Chat
guys old enough to remember old
floaties.
blonde jokes? Are you guys old enough to remember old blonde jokes?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you know the one about why blondes wear shoulder pads, and I'm a blonde, so please, anyone listen to this, please, I feel like I can make this joke. It's because they bob their head when they talk, so they don't hurt themselves.
Oh.
And I'm wondering if Titans are like a similar thing, like they need this extra
No.
cushioning, so they don't like.
You have to admit, Pins, the armor is it the callus armor that's like the really fat.
Yes.
Like big boy armor?
The big boy armor,
Dude,
which is
Dude,
even
what about
better when
everybody
they
needs
put
it.
armor? What about the EDZ armor? It's got shoulder pads in next week.
Oh my god.
We use dead titans for rudders due to the shoulder pad.
Oh,
That's all I'm saying.
I love
Like,
you,
when
Pins.
When we run out of brake pads, we just have a few titans jump off the tower. Get their
Little known
shoulders.
fact.
Oh no!
Little known fact, every butt towel comes equipped with an inflatable tube running through them.
Oh no.
Little bit of
Oh, head desk. Yes. I feel like we've hit classic show like level of
We
quality
broke
now.
Pins.
Pins is head desking.
right?
Oh man! All
Mission
right.
accomplished.
Goodness. Well, I feel like let's just drop the banner now, guys. Do we really even need a second show if we broke Pins? And not to date myself with my banner comments, younger people. Sorry.
Oh gosh. All right, Blue.
Fucking where's my damn whiskey?
Oh, buddy, I'd have poured you a drink.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on April 22nd, 2020, over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat as we continue our discussion over the updates to what we know about Osiris. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the advanced session of the week's exploration. Congratulations to those who signed up for a deeper dive. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And this is the dialogist. Is that how we said it back in the last
Dialogian?
episode?
But dialogist would be like
the
dialogist would be
plural?
of you.
The dialogy.
No, it's like how does she act? She acts very
Linguini.
dialogous.
She acts very
She is very-
dialogous.
Yeah. She's the most dialogous host I've ever.
She is like totally dialogist, guys. The dialoguini. I will have the dialoguini, guys.
Oh, I love it.
Hey, it's me, the one who messes up words all the time. Green-eyed music lover.
The dialogous one. The dialogist with the mostest. And last but definitely not least, in the hot seat as guest co-host, we have our good friend Taylor B. Taylor, how are you doing?
I am the most dialogist right now, you guys.
Yeah! Yeah!
Well, I'm having a great time on the show. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
You know, we spent probably as much time in the in-between just chatting between the three of us and just with chat about all sorts of different things. Like
The
normally it's just-
darker side of what it means to be a guardian.
I mean, Guardian Games bringing out the
The hard questions.
The hard questions. All those punches, hard punches. But, you know, what I was saying, though, is that we generally, when we're recording, for those people who don't normally come to our chat, we do have like a little intermission before we start up the second recording. But normally that intermission is like maybe 5-10 minutes. I think we've been going for, 30-40 minutes at this
Yeah,
point
probably.
in between.
It's almost like we haven't had a chance to record one of these in a while.
Right, but there's also just the fun, loving, and craziness that it's very Justin-like craziness that Taylor B possesses, and it's fun to be able to just chat with them.
I really appreciate that, and Justin, I hope you'll be listening later. Like, I take that as the greatest of compliments. I'm glad I can bring a little just insanity
Yeah.
to the conversation. And I think it helps that we're both from, like, south of the Mason-Dixon. We can help with a little
Chat,
bit of
oh
all.
my god.
Oh, dead
love it.
titans make wall grow. Stonk. Oh, man. Oh, no. Oh, no. Like, if anyone who was not in the live chat just heard me read that, you have no idea what that context is for. But let me tell you.
Oh no.
It's good context.
Yeah, it's good context, and honestly, it's it's very dialogian.
It's very dialogian.
Well, I know we talked about doing kind of like just a dive into the clarifications of Osiris's timeline with this Green, and I know with was it the I always flip the birds. Is it, which is also
Pigeon
a really
and
fun thing,
Phoenix.
which is a really fun thing
Oh
to
my.
say. Yeah, oh my.
Pigeon.
I always want to say the phoenix and the pigeon, but I think it's the pigeon and the phoenix.
Correct. It's the gray and then the gold, if you're gonna go color wise. If you need a mnemonic type thing to remember it.
That doesn't help.
That's actually a really good way to remember it,
That doesn't
because I
help.
think it's important to like the story itself too.
Little bit. It's a little bit thematic, as we're gonna kind of get into. But yeah, the timeline is interesting with Osiris in general, just because we don't have a lot of it. We have a lot more hearsay about Osiris than we do information directly from him. So, would you say that Pigeon and the Phoenix is more of an actual viewpoint, more of a first person viewpoint of what his history is before everything, before Trials comes to be a thing and whatnot, and before he gets removed from the entire tower?
I would say that
so
it's
to speak?
actually kind of like a good yes. Yeah. I would say definitely before Trials. We actually get Trials, we get a lot of information from Trials and Tribulations. A lot gets clarified about the original Trials of Osiris in that particular book. And then but everything else really, the Pigeon and the Phoenix really does clarify, especially the mindset that not just Osiris but also Saint was in, which I think is super helpful personally, because it really, to me at least, also really presented what was going on and why what seemed like a very dramatic schism was maybe not as dramatic as everything was making it sound. Like the whole thing, there's also I keep going back to it, but there's also one of the entries from Trials and Tribulations where Osiris actually weighs in on the whole exiling of him from the city when he calls back, or when he basically curbs the disciples of Osiris's enthusiasm for making them pay for slandering against him. And Osiris is like, no, there was no acrimony between us, like we are on the same side, which I really appreciated, because up until that point it had always been like Osiris always has that grumpy old guy facade, and so it's easy to assume that he did not get along with the Vanguard and thus held a grudge against them. And it turns out that's actually not at all what was going on.
Right.
I
also-
like that clarification.
There's also something to be said about how Osiris did not approve of what his cult was doing. He had
Yeah.
no
Oh, yeah.
organization.
He
nothing,
actively
no role.
he actively tried to disband them. Like
I will. All right. So I do say he like actively, or at least like what's the word? Demonstrably spoke out
Yes.
against them. I don't know how active he was in that, because he's just so
well, yeah,
absorbed
that's true.
by
Like
his other stuff. I wonder how much he actually did, aside from like little comments to his friends.
I don't think he would necessarily explain to the public, the general public, that like denounce them or anything publicly. I don't think he has like the time in his mind to be able to do that, and
Yeah.
he doesn't care enough to do that.
I think I
But I
think
can
it's more the
definitely
latter,
see-
especially. Like I don't
Right,
think
so-
he doesn't care.
Well, there's
Oh,
also
yeah.
the aspect that with Osiris in general, he speaks out pretty clearly to Brother Vance, which we'll get into when Trials and Tribulation. And he speaks out to Sister Feora in some ways as well, with some of the different things that the cult is doing in some of the introduction cards for that book in particular, that Osiris was not a huge fan of the cult.
He's
Not at all.
not a fan of zealots.
No.
He because his whole thing is knowing, like his whole thing is knowledge, right? It's understanding what is going on. And zealot, if you're overzealous about something, you often will agree to do something. That's the whole definition of zealot, is you're just
Right.
like, and all that. And
But that being said, he doesn't necessarily turn them down for research purposes.
No, he does
Was-
not. He recognizes a tool when he sees one, I think would be
Would
the
you-
easiest way to say that.
Yes.
So question for both of you, but Blue especially, would you say he's sort of like a Socrates kind of figure? Or would you say that, like, in my personal view, I think he's become sort of like a probability in real life versus literary version of Diogenes in terms of like philosophers that he's being compared with. Like, he probably had some big ideas and a lot of like principal notoriety, but I'm wondering how much is like him actually interacting with stuff in real life.
Yeah, I mean, because I can totally see the Socrates piece, because a lot. I mean,
don't-
what's up?
I
So,
don't think he's definitely not a teacher per se. Like, he does not take on students necessarily.
Well-
Ikora is a student.
Well,
was
but
she though?
the other thing is the way
least his
the way
ward.
he arguably teaches. If you want to go down that way, is pretty similar, because Socrates was not gentle. Like he was not a gentle teacher by any stretch of the imagination. He did not pull punches, and he made it
So
very, very obvious when he disagreed. He treated everyone on the same level. And so he
So this
expected them to rise to the level of, if they made a claim, then they're going to need to defend that. And I see that in Osiris, and I think that's where
Sure.
a lot of his, not animosity, but his like disdain towards the cult of his followers kind of comes from, is because a lot of them are just like, well, you said this, and he's like, no, that's not. You're not understanding what I'm talking about. Like, don't just quote people back to them.
I can dig that. It kind of reminds me of how can I say this? It reminds me of like that's sort of maybe even like a bit of a trope, but like Life of Brian, he keeps saying that he's not the Messiah and he's not doing all those things, and they all record back like, oh, so we should worship you now.
Oh God.
Yeah, like we should.
Yeah.
It's kind of like he thinks he's very purposefully and saying in the best way that he can that he's not these things that they're attributing to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in the comic it very like clearly shows that he's not into anything any of his fans are saying about him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
He
Well, and
tries
I
his
think
best.
that dives into, I think what Green had mentioned too, is like, I just don't think Osiris existed so much in his head that he was like the proverbial philosopher, not philosopher king, but in the perspective of the disciples, he really was. He didn't care about leading, and so he just like he basically was like, look, you're not in my way, but you're not helping me, so I don't care. Like, as long as they didn't hinder him, I don't think he really. I get the feeling like he didn't really pay them any. Like they weren't even a blip on his radar. Like, because the whole thing with Trials and Tribulations with Brother Vance, you see that with him when he calls Vance to task near the end of the book, and then Vance is like, oh yeah, by the way, Amara says this, and he's like, oh, good job. Like he completely does a 180. But in Osiris, I
Because he's
took that as like,
useful.
yeah,
He's
no,
useful
yeah, exactly.
at
It
that
was
point.
exactly like oh, you know, you were broken, and now all of a sudden this this screwdriver is it's working now. Like it's Osiris doesn't register that
He doesn't hold a grudge necessarily on
I
any sort of these different things.
I don't even think he registers that there is a grudge to be held, because it doesn't have any weight in what he's actually trying to do. Like,
well, that and the fact that he does not care publicly how his name comes across, like that is something he
True.
has never
yeah, that
ever
is-
cared about. Like even the whole thing, like being flattered, the idea of being flattered for having a following like that,
yeah, that's true.
it doesn't register with him.
He got annoyed because they kept getting in his way more than he was flattered that they were following him around and copying him. Which wasn't that the explanation of why he started wearing the Egyptian thing was as a disguise?
Yep.
I was about to say, I'm
If I
trying to
recall
remember it. Was
correctly.
yeah,
If I
like
recall correctly.
he was trying to avoid him.
It was his sneaky bit, and then they figured out that was him, and they're like, "Oh, this is his new look. We need to
copy it.
to mirror him." I
They
like
just
that
turned
they have
into,
their own
like,
little
lore
fashion week with
enthusiasts.
their obsession with him. Like they come in, they're just like, "Hey guys, did you know that he put a dog head on top of his head? What if we did that?"
He's the trendsetter. Oh lord.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's everything, and that's like I get why he's straight away. That's way too much pressure.
Yeah, not everybody could be RuPaul.
Oh goodness, goodness. Yeah, no one can be a topic dictator and fashion lord.
Right?
At
It's
the
just
same
too hard. It's just too terribly difficult.
with and be fabulous on top of it. Like
Yeah.
goodness.
I mean, he does glitter. Or does that glow? What is
I
it?
mean,
It's
all
glo-
right. So
I mean,
Osiris plays with glittery cubes, which is a little different.
there's some place I can go, but this is a family.
Ooh.
Taylor's
with the
like,
family
nope, I'm going.
I mean, I'll dive into it, but it's your pool.
Blue's just enjoying himself. He just needs a bucket of popcorn. Yeah,
Oh, I still want to know what the sequence that he arranges those three little cubes like means.
Yeah, I'm trying-
I'm sure there's
For the
different ones
emote,
for-
like we mimic it. We
Right.
mimic it
Well,
in the
and
emote you
that's
can
what
do.
it makes me think that they're like the meditation, what are the meditation balls? Like it's
Yes.
something to take his mind off of things.
But he uses it to open the gates.
He does
Yeah,
use he does use him to, but he uses it inside the infinite forest, which is
So I feel like it's a thing where like I think it's more demonstrable in his cinematic of doing it. Like I think there's little symbols on each sides of those cubes. So maybe it's a little more like intricate, and he's arranging like three cubes in like a certain way in like a 3D fashion.
Mhm.
That we like it doesn't translate to the emote that we were able to get.
Probably
Well,
not.
I mean, I guess
and
my
we also
question-
don't necessarily have the real things either.
right. And I guess my thought process there was is it that, or is it a way for him to basically realize what he's thinking, like to organize his thoughts to exact that upon the reality? It's like a
magical tool to. As
it's
a
like
focus.
a totem. Yeah, it's like a totem or
Yeah.
a focus.
I if it is a tool, the tool is still what's doing it.
Sure.
Yes and no. I mean, yes
honestly,
and no.
Like if you're putting torque on a screw with the screwdriver, it's the screwdriver that's putting the torque.
Right,
Through
but
your action, just as him like spinning the cubes, is
But the
his action
idea-
doing the thing. But the tool is still what's doing it. You
well,
get
but
the
that's
feeling?
but like so like
but
talking about
a
like
focus. Okay, so
Right, yeah.
focus doesn't necessarily mean a physical tool. It's more of a mental trigger. It's
Mhm.
a mental way to trigger a mental process to function the way that you want to. So people will often talk about focuses and stuff like that for meditation, a way to get them into correct mindset for the meditation itself. I've also seen it used for more mystical side of things. They definitely consider it more of a way, like the idea of the wand. The wand itself doesn't actually do anything. It's the person, but the wand is the way that the person can direct their magic themselves. Like the magic doesn't come from the wand in Harry Potter; it comes from the wizards.
So
Right.
thank you for saying that, because that's actually what I'm trying to get at. So I apologize for maybe like
Oh no,
poorly representing what I was saying. Like that's what I'm getting at. Like it's still you, but the tool is what like helps you, or like in maybe this case allows you to do it.
mm-hmm.
And like
Right,
that's what
right.
I'm getting at. Like you're still turning the screwdriver. Like it's
Oh,
your
sure.
force that's doing it. Like the screwdriver isn't going to do it without you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was meaning like, so like and speaking like a fantasy D&D setting, when you have like clerics who use divine magic, they have what's called a focus, and it's literally a totem of whatever deity they happen to be in service of, but they channel their energy through that focus. And so when I see Osiris in the cubes, that's immediately what actually came to mind. But the thing is instead of a divine magic or a divine deity that he's calling magic through, it's literally the paracausal force of his light that he is manipulating through the use of those cubes as a divine focus. So he's manifesting his will that is powered by the paracausality that he can control, and it's focusing that will, because the thing is within the pigeon and the phoenix, we see that he has immensely powerful abilities with the whole reflections,
Defending the city,
and his ability to literally see the big picture of what is going on. So the cubes, I kind of took the cubes are a way of him narrowing his mind to the event that he's actually trying to control, or to not control. Control is a bad word. What he's actually trying to accomplish. And so he has that immense power, but it's like, oh God, it's a very, very powerful, it's a very, very common trope in, like, I'm trying to think, Wizard of Earthsea is the one that keeps popping to mind. But like the main character is super powerful, but because he is so powerful, mundane things are actually nearly impossible for him to accomplish. Like, it's actually more difficult for him to do mundane spells because the wealth of power that he has, it's like hitting something with a sledgehammer where you only need like a tack hammer. Like it's just he can't channel that much into that small of a device. And so if you kind of use it with that, that's what I see with Osiris and those cubes, is that it's his way of actually limiting the amount of power that he's bringing to bear on a problem, which allows then to focus on accomplishing what he needs to accomplish.
Consume, enhance, replicate.
Does that make sense?
No, that totally makes sense. I was kind of likening it in my head to sort of a
Consume, enhance, replicate.
jokingly, I was likening it kind of in my head, like where he's like seeing the outcome, he's like, nope, twist, nope, twist this around. Oh no, don't like that. Okay, this will work. Let's do it. Like, and he's like adjusting, because when he's doing that, he only does that when he's in the infinite forest. So I feel like that's him like manipulating it. He's like, nope, don't want Vex. Nope, Cabal, I need Fallen for this one.
Right.
And
right.
let's give us an arc burn. All right, let's do this. Let's go in. It's gonna
like
be a fun run.
Our little Nightfall type thing, whatever that card or whatever.
The
that we used
Five
to
of
have?
Swords.
I don't think we have it anymore.
Yeah, we do, because I had to get a new one. Orchid yelled at me about it.
You can still. I thought you couldn't pick the perks anymore on the Nightfall. I
You
thought it
can
was
on the
sick.
basic, not the ordeals.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I had the one that apparently you couldn't take the what is it?
The Vision Cubes.
The
Mr. Data Games, sorry.
expulsion or whatever the the one that if you die you go to orbit. The original
Oh,
card.
Extinguish.
Extinguish. Yeah. Apparently you couldn't
yeah.
used to take that off, and I had never gotten the new card that you could take it off. So I got a fun talking to about that because I kept being like, they're like, take it off. I'm like, I can't take it off. Like that's so weird. Just anyways, this is gonna get awkward fast.
Did you guys ever? I think it was maybe a little more accessible in D1. Did you guys ever solo some Nightfalls just to see if you could?
I have tried. I have not accomplished.
I found it a lot easier in D1 to solo Nightfalls.
Yes, it was.
Not gonna lie, that was a very, very common thing in D1 for me.
The Nexus Mine comes to mind. No pun intended. But I used to be able, because even after they added, so for anyone who doesn't know, anyone who's a newer player, at the end of the strike, that would be the Nightfall, you could hang up at the top of this long drop down to go fight this Mexi boy, and just never even you could have the high ground, a la Obi-Wan, the whole fight, if you just didn't rush into things.
You had to sit back there with, what was the sniper that would regenerate?
No, that was but they didn't have that originally. That wasn't until
you couldn't do that. You could, but it was a while. They still had the ammo regeneration if you ran out based on things that you killed. So what you would want is a scout rifle and maybe a sniper.
Icebreaker.
That's
you would want Icebreaker. That's what she was talking about. But before Icebreaker came out, you might want like a rocket launcher.
Right.
To hit the mine, and you would just basically just rain hellfire down on this
this poor Nexus mine.
Yeah, and it can't even shoot at you because it's like neck doesn't look up that high.
Oh, he's got a little collar on.
Yeah, and you would just kill it, and then eventually they changed it to where this Minotaur would show up behind you, and he's just like running at you real fierce with a boomer gun. But even then, you could just turn around and kill him real quick. You could just save your rockets for just him and just kill him real quick, and then go right back to plucking down on this poor Nexus mine.
Gosh.
God.
And I
remember the first week they put that Minotaur up there, scared the Jesus out of everyone.
So for that strike, I would wear the Knucklehead radar. So that I knew when it was about to come and get me. I would just be plucking away, and then when I saw it, I would turn around and just be ready to murder it real quick with my heavy. I didn't even use heavy on the boss after they implemented that.
I save it for you.
The other one that was always fun to solo was the one that everyone still, for some odd reason, loves to quote, but the Valis to Arc one. You get underneath the stairs off to the left.
Oh, you get underneath the stairs and you shoot between the objects. You shoot between the fucking. I'm sorry. You shoot between the friggin'
boxes.
The boxes and whatever stuff.
And then you'd always have the random Centurion.
I don't know what that room is. I don't know if it's like a depot. Why are there boxes there? I don't know anything about it.
I just loved it because you'd always have the random Centurions who would come crowding up against you. You're like, get out of the way!
Oh, dude. Oh, and they would knock you out of the little slap between the boxes. Go find your own fucking slap. Get out of here.
Go find your own hiding place.
This is mine.
Find your own.
Right
oh
now.
my god, that Nightfall.
I was here first.
we always would stack on top of each other.
Oh, it's sardines.
Awful. It was. Oh god.
No, sardines have much more organization.
This is fair.
Than what was going on in D1, because people would be so it's sardines are at least already dead. So they can't impact one another. And whereas what would happen in D1 is you'd be trying to launch a Gallarhorn at this boss, and then somebody's gonna jockey you out of the way.
Right into the wall.
Yeah. And then your Wolfpack rounds do nothing. Spin around in impotence.
Well, there's the other one who was the Night Stalker who couldn't actually hit the boss.
That was always fun.
Oh god.
ended up hitting like the top of the ceiling,
Mhm.
and then just for like the next 20 seconds, you have just this random pulsing.
Pulsing like blinding purple light.
And
Mhm.
you know what I always loved about that is this person was like would be shooting the boss in between the gap, and then when they pull back for their Night Stalker round, it's like they'd never been third person before.
Right?
You're like, I'm gonna point up, like I'm gonna do something completely different. Let me jerk back on the stick.
Oh god. I feel like the new animation for Night Stalker literally is like a punishment for all of that, just to be like as soon as you get tethered, you're just your cursor goes down real hard, right? Like I
Oh
don't
yeah,
feel like
when
it
you
was that
when you
bad
get
back in D1, but
it's much
in
more
D2,
severe.
holy
Like,
crap.
Like when you get tethered, or when you tether, like when you shoot the.
When you
yeah,
get
yeah.
tethered, I
tethered.
think it's
Yeah.
I think it's a
I-
complete like.
I
you
always
guys
get the feeling it's
were-
like completely random, to be honest, because like sometimes
Oh.
it'll jerk up, and then other times it'll like jerk. I just
Nice kill.
yeah, I just am like, ugh. But yes, Osiris.
Yeah. So Osiris, we talked a little bit about Osiris and kind of his powers. I know we're going to get into it more when we do Trials and Tribulation, but do we want to talk a little bit more about what we knew back in D1? Because the only thing I remember that we were all concerned about in D1 was the projections that are brought up when he does his meeting with Mara before taking
reflections,
King.
So
Mhm.
I
Which
want to ask
he-
about this.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I had a real question about this, like when I was looking at the show notes, and I think it got taken away with my magnification of the mind map because I have squinty eyes. But but basically, what my question was: do you think that his reflections are something that he had prior to Twilight Gap? Because I don't think there's any record of him going in the Vex network.
He did
Right.
Twilight
have
Gap.
them prior to Twilight Gap, because he
Well,
had them at the
no, no,
Battle
no.
of Six Fronts.
Well, this is what I'm saying though. Like, if it's something he got from the Vex network, did he actually have them from his linear timeline before that battle, or is it something he sent back afterward?
AKA, is this something that is part of Osiris
Timeline.
and not part of
Yeah.
the Vex that
Yeah.
he just utilized? I
Yeah.
mean,
Because like you can definitely like, and I've gone over this in a number of different things. It split it however you want, however you think it works. Vex time travel works backwards, 100%. If you
Yeah.
think it works forwards, there's a debate for that. But like backwards, there's no argument. It 100% works backwards.
Well, and we've
And if
demonstrated
he stole,
that. Yeah.
yeah, and if he stole Vex technology to create those reflections, like based on when they write about him going into the Vex network, for him to have those at that battles, I feel like he had to send them back. And that's a little spin-foily, but like that's how that reads to me.
it's possible. We do know he did have some interaction with Vex because he was already interested in the Vex prior to he's interested in the darkness rather, I guess in Pigeon and Phoenix. He doesn't necessarily call out the Vex specifically, but he's doing research out in the forest and whatnot and searching. Him and Segura are both searching for answers, but it doesn't lead him to the Vex. I don't know when his fascination with the Vex happened before. I imagine prior to him ever going to the city, but
Well,
we don't have any confirmation.
So
Not
we
to
know that he spent time with Fellwinter and Nerwin. Like he was and that's something that Brother Vance made a comment about when he talks about when he became the Vanguard Commander and Vanguard Mentor and Vanguard Commander. He was known already because of his association with Fellwinter and Nerwin with the Iron Lords. And so and that also ties into the Pigeon and the Phoenix, because you see in the Pigeon and the Phoenix him taking out one of the warlords, and albeit not for an altruistic purpose. Like he does it because the guy won't leave him alone, but he still takes out a warlord, and then he basically RTLs him. And so and then oh god, that scene is so great, because then he's like Segura's like, "You're gonna let him go," like the ghost, and he's like, "I'm gonna what now?" Like,
Am I?
am I? Oh. But like, I think that also was, I want to say, oh gosh, this is such dangerous territory for me.
Right, I know.
The association with the Iron Lords would have opened his eyes, because we know that the Iron Lords were obsessed with Golden Age technology and with Clovis Bray and with war mines, for their own reasons. And so that, and we know Clovis Bray was associated with the Vex and the Hive. Like, we know that for a fact from Revelation and for a few other things. And so, like,
subtle.
well, like Aspect and
Right.
Revelation especially, we see Clovis Bray's recognition of the Hive as the second alien race that they've come across. And then even within D1, Clovis Bray knew about the Vex because they provided Rasputin to help the Ishtar Academy.
Right.
And so they have, and then in Revelation, it's called out that Clovis Bray uses that knowledge as a way to position themselves as the leading expert of alien interaction. And so, like, there's a bit of stair-stepping connections to make there, but if he is with if he's with Fellwinter and Nerwin, who are probably up there in the Iron Lords as far as connections to looking into Golden Age technology, it would serve to reason that he probably is, at least in some capacity, familiar with the Vex. But I like the idea of explaining his reflections as a Vex tech from the future, because even if we don't see it now, that's always actually a possibility. Yeah, I mean, right? Because, like, as long as Osiris is still around, it could always be, oh, this is the moment that he finds
It's
the
very
tech.
Bill and Ted.
It's yeah. That's actually exactly what I was thinking when you were saying that. It was like, oh my god, this is
very Bill and
this
Ted.
is very
like,
Bill and
Yo,
Ted.
Bill, like, we got to remember to go leave this stuff in
yeah.
this trash can in the future.
Yeah. So I actually I never thought about it like that, but like I do know, because like we do see him make use of them with Six Fronts, which would be, as far as we know, well before. Well, we know that would be before he becomes ingrained in the Infinite Forest, because
also
go for it.
Also, just as the city's like completely becoming a thing, right?
Right.
Like,
which would
point
to the fact that they probably didn't have the tech to go jumping around planets, at least not easily accessible, because jump ships were very rare. And that, I mean, jump ships are still rare even in the City Age. That's one of the things that it gets called out within Vanilla D1 when you find your jump ship. That's the whole point of taking the jump ship to the city, is to get it equipped with a drive to allow you to go to the moon and then, to then later explore the system.
Right, but I thought that was more you just didn't have the goods yet on that one. And
right, no. But I mean, but what I'm saying is, like, you had to take that ship to the city, because the city is where that technology was most common. So if Osiris... what I'm saying is basically using that as a backtrace on logic for the timeline. Osiris wouldn't necessarily have a jump ship available to him to go to Mercury and get ingrained with the Infinite Forest prior to the City Age. If that makes sense.
No, I get what you're saying. It's like the stuff they can salvage versus the means of the technology based on other accounts at that time of the lore don't make that possible. However, if you bring like time travel and echoes involved in Vex technology, it becomes a little more plausible, especially if you have like a linear timeline that you're affecting, as opposed to like splitting timelines because of what you affect.
Yeah, and they're talking about this in chat too, really quick, but like, it is called out that the reflections and echoes are two sides of the same coin.
Oh yeah, no, because I think echoes are
He says
those
echoes
have
are
only
better. Are
demonstrably been
echoes?
known by orcs, right?
Yes. Well,
Demonstrably, it's not like we've only
Savathun, I
seen
think,
echoes
has
of
it.
orcs in game.
Yeah, we've seen echoes of orcs, and I think we've seen echoes of Savathun. I want to
Not in her image.
Not in her Oh no, maybe not in her image necessarily. But
She's
that
had
being
agents. She's had tons of
agent,
different
okay, maybe
agents.
that's what I'm thinking. I thought there was an echo of Savathun. I can't remember, but Dino's putting the quote in that from the, I think it's the maintenance record thing where Osiris actually acknowledges that he did use echoes. He has
Right.
used echoes before, which
But
that
I'm
brings
sorry.
up really interesting questions too.
Yeah, like it brings it up, but like reading the quote that Dino's posted in there, it's and we've never seen an echo of Savathun. That's a good point. It kind of makes me feel like the distinction is maybe like what's powering the manifestation as opposed to like the end result.
Yes, I would
Right.
agree with that.
Because when we did Taken King and we fought the echoes of Oryx, we did that twice, and we've since fought an echo of Oryx here in D2 in the Reckoning.
Mm-hmm.
They
But that's
still seem to-
still more of a figment of Drifter's imagination gone wild. But yeah,
well, I mean, yes, and
mm-hmm.
I feel like he's probably drawing on that reality of the echo in that case because he's
In
tailoring that to the Guardian who all players are.
Reckoning.
Or
Yeah.
Well, but Reckoning's just a shadow. Like it's not it's not an echo.
It's not an actual echo, but it's the idea of American Gods. Like it's pulling
right. Oh
the
yeah.
thought
Okay.
image
Yeah.
of
Sorry. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
into the
And I'm
reality.
sorry, it's effectively what the echo of Oryx was in D1.
Yeah. It's the end result is similar, but the process of creation is different.
I feel like if this was in the same game, they'd have a hard time naming it differently than the Echo
would
of
agree
Oryx.
with that. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
Is all I'm going for there, but that's a good distinction. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
for saying that. But like all I'm going for is like I feel like it's the a similar end result with different things powering it. It's like how can I say this? It's like if you're able to achieve the same things through different methodologies.
It's traditional cartoon drawing versus Pixar animations. Possibly, you're still getting an
Like
animated
very
image,
similarly,
but
like you could get a 3D like depth result in your
Right.
animation through rotoscopy, which is like a very like old thing, or you could do it through 3D rendering. That's like a very good analogy. Thank you.
yay, I can do those. So yeah, Osiris uses the. Is it called echoes or what is it called in the Pigeon and Phoenix when he's in the Battle of Six Fronts?
Those are reflections.
Those are
I'm almost
reflections.
certain.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the reflection's something different that we hadn't seen before in Curse of Osiris. These reflections actually have power. It's not just an image per se, because there's
Yeah, it's true multiple man.
yeah, he defends an entire sector
He
by
defends.
himself.
I mean, I would. Yeah. I mean, he'd honestly pretty much defended the entire city to a degree.
Don't we also see like 50 at once though, whereas this was like maybe 12?
Yeah, in the Infinite
In that
Forest,
story,
he
like,
he
yeah.
replicates because he sends. I think he even made like hundreds, because that was one of the comments that he went when he sent after Saint 14.
So like if in the same strain of multiple man, the multiple man theory, and I love that that's stuck.
Oh yeah. Well, and it stuck even more because he actually he calls out that one of the reflections went rogue and committed suicide. Like
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whoa, this is 100% multiple man. Like this is it's like
Also,
So-
can I just say one weird thing just to kind of throw this down the rabbit hole in a different direction? With Osiris using the reflections in the Infinite Forest, we've seen something similar be done when you have copies of a certain Ishtar collective team within the Vex network itself. So it's not
Ooh.
Which is
unheard of to
another
have multiple copies.
right, which
Okay,
is
so
another nod
that's-
to Taylor's comment about Vex Tech being the
Right.
source
So
of that.
I just want to add this. I want to add this to this. This was actually from our topic that me and the Bagels recorded earlier tonight. That sequence of simulations was entirely within the goblin that they dissected.
Mm-hmm.
They had not entered the greater Vex network.
That was the entire purpose of them going up to the Spire with
Right.
the extra copies, was they were
So
stepping into the network at that point.
exactly. And then eventually we know that that's how they encounter Praedyth and help him get those messages out, like his ghosts back in D1 and all that stuff. But where I'm going with this is every Vex, and this isn't entirely important to the Osiris conversation, but literally every Vex you encounter has at least that many simulations of you running. As best that they can simulate you.
Yeah.
At
Because they
minimum,
pulled that
yeah.
from a single goblin. Yeah. That's crazy. Like,
Gosh.
I don't mean to explode anyone's heads. I'm
No,
very
no,
sorry.
no. No, you're good. I'm also holding myself back because it's going to be another spin foil that I used to push really, really heavily back after Curse of Osiris.
That was an excellent spin foil, by the way.
I was gonna say, can you please share it with us and the rest of the class?
Have you not shared this
So-
with Taylor?
I don't know if Taylor's heard this one or not. I know I haven't brought it up directly with him, but
I like
that-
this one.
this theory, this is like a really, really freaking old theory where I was mostly being cheeky and trying to break Beard back in the day, which was something I did. Like, it was a goal of every episode, really. Like, just it really was. But
As a longtime listener, you were very good at it.
yes,
Love
I
you, Beard.
was.
But she's not wrong.
But she's not wrong.
So this theory was the whole idea that Osiris is possibly a reincarnated version of
Shem.
Dr. Shin.
Yeah. Love it.
Ooh.
The crotchety old guy.
Ooh. Well, all right. So I've always had a special like weird theory in my heart because when I first heard it, and I don't think this is the case now, so like hear me out here. But when I first played that mission in D1, I was back on the train that your ghost was also someone reincarnated,
Mm-hmm.
and so I thought our ghost Peter Dinklage was Dr. Shim, and that's why his
Oh.
passcode worked.
That would be kind of cool too.
I would have really fucking dug that. Things have changed since then, and I'm not hating on anything, but that was back then when we didn't know a lot. Anyone like really judging me for thinking that right now?
Yeah, don't feel judged. You don't need to feel judged. There are plenty of weird theories that I've held, that Blue's held, that it's just it's just a theory. That's the fun thing. Theories are great.
Well, chat's cool. I'm talking to all those future listeners that are gonna come back in years later and be like,
Years later.
"Yeah, Taylor B."
You're gonna get that one random message like 3 years from now.
And it will affect me.
You're like, no.
Sad. How could I be wrong years ago? F you.
I thought I was right all these years.
Yeah. I was really riding on that correctness.
By the
I was really-
if you don't, there's like a what is it? An expiration date on rightness with this theory type thing. I don't know. Yeah, no, Dr. Shim possibly being Osiris now it's a nice little thing that fits in a lot of ways, but it's also something that I know drives a few lore people absolutely batty.
Honestly, like, all right, I'll put it this way as someone who dabbles in a lot of like weird lore stuff. I'll say if something drives you batty, you're way too invested.
Mm-hmm.
Because the writers are betting on people like you.
Well said.
That's 100%. Like, I'm just gonna put that out there. Like, get used to disappointment.
Wait, you mean like reading fiction?
Yeah, yeah. If you're that invested based on your initial thing in like a grand sweeping like arc of something, just get used to disappointment because you're not open to change. You're not open to
That's
being
the fun of
surprised.
Spinfoil.
Dude, that's the best part of Spinfoil is that I would love for everything I said to be wrong, but I wanted to be proven wrong because all the things I pointed out, like, how can I say this? They were connected differently than I said, not that the things I pointed out were wrong.
Right. Right.
Like that excites me in every episode that I record. That's my favorite part. I'm very boosted about being shown wrong later, and that's why I kind of made a point to saying that like we make retractions.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and
That's the fun thing about research, right? Like that's what you want. You want your research to not necessarily be disproven. You don't want like an experiment disproven. You want it to be reinforced in a different way that you didn't think was coming.
Well, but that's yeah.
I think to add to that, like you want it to be explored.
Right.
Like
Yes.
you want your idea to be explored. So like even if the idea isn't right, and I think you guys will mirror me on this, it's the idea that we all thought about it and had a good time. That's the real Spinfoil is the friends we made along the way.
Oh,
Mhm.
I feel like I need a little violin music now.
Okay, calm down, Deej.
Or like maybe saxophone music.
No.
Little Kenny G.
Oh man. Oh man, you got an alt sax? Like
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do. I do.
I'm sorry. I digress. Osiris.
Yes. So Osiris, he does the whole Battle of Six Fronts defense of the city. Then something we learn about him in Trials and Tribulations is he not necessarily becomes super close to the speaker, but the speaker and him definitely have more than just like a passing conversation.
Mhm. Well, and I think
Um,
again, it's because kind of tag into what Taylor was just talking about is Osiris isn't so. I kind of take Osiris's character as something that is not fixated on being quote unquote right, but as coming to understand what is going on.
mhm.
You know, like kind of going off of what Taylor was just talking about. It's the pursuit of knowledge and the pursuit of the actual truth, not I'm going to prove myself right.
Right.
He wants to understand what is happening, not just, you know, it's my way or the highway. And I think that's where you see a lot of, like, with his character, that's where you see a lot of the disdain that he has towards the speaker, towards the cult. You know, all these different characters, they all have a common theme in which Osiris seems to bristle at, and that is, no, this is the truth. You can't make that statement and then be in the same breath being like, but I'm also trying to understand it. No, you closed yourself off to the fact that there is possibilities that are outside of your knowledge by stating point blank that this is the way it has to be.
Right.
If that, I think that is the
Yes.
best way of saying what I kind of that's why I really appreciate the character of Osiris, is because that's a characteristic that I think is worth emulating and you know, putting on a pedestal, is that pursuit of not being right, but that pursuit of understanding what is going on with the world.
So here's my question with that, with the way Osiris perceives things and how he handles the speaker. Back in D1, we had this very, very strong emotional connection between the two, where it was believed that Osiris really hated the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any more clarification? Which, I mean, we do, but like, what is the clarification that we have now as getting more of a first person dialogue rather than these hearsays.
That would be in Margins, actually, which is from Pigeon and Phoenix. It's so Osiris, like he had a bad taste in his mouth when it came to the speaker before he actually even met the speaker, and I think again it goes back to what we've all been, or all three of us have been kind of talking about, is this idea that Osiris he's not really keen on the people who are like, demagoguing their way into power. He doesn't care for it that much, but because when he first meets Saint is the one that recommends that he go talk to the speaker, and Osiris kind of poo-poos that idea because he's like, you get the feeling that he's like, oh, I already know his type, basically. But when you see Osiris actually interact with the speaker in Margins, he is very, I would say he's very respectful. He's very open to having a conversation with the speaker, and he actually wants to hear the speaker's perspective about the traveler. Like he wants to know why the speaker is so certain, about something, it seems like.
I feel like the speaker is, to your point, at all times in how his character is depicted, when his character is depicted directly, that is to say, not like how Brother Vance may have depicted him in D1,
Mm-hmm.
or like what have you, like sort of adjacently.
Mm-hmm.
At all times, he is a student of knowledge, and I think if anyone has anything that is new to present to him, I think he's always been open to. I don't think there's any example of him fighting something that's even contrary to what he presents.
Who, Osiris or the speaker?
Osiris, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
and I mean, I think
yeah,
to a
to
degree
be
you could
direct.
almost say that to both of them, right? I think
Oh
the
no,
difference.
I think the speaker is very
Well,
suppressive.
Well, and so see, and I think publicly he is, but I think privately he doesn't seem necessarily to be that way, because because I mean, again, this goes back to my entire point of view of the speaker is trying. I don't agree with what he's doing. I never agree that censorship is ever acceptable, but I understand the logic to the choice that that led him to make those choices. I disagree with them 100%, but I see that he's in the control of a dystopian world. Like, he's trying to keep these people from falling apart. And in the same vein of the symmetry, right? The symmetry is out there preaching, oh, well, we'll never win because in order to win, we have to lose. And the speaker's like, I can just see like this face palming of like, no, that's not what you tell a military who's in the loot. Like, you don't tell your army, hey, there's no way to win, but you should go fight anyways. Like that's not what you tell them. Like, it's because that's the whole symmetry is like, hey, in order to defeat the darkness, we have to give up the light. So are you going to actually do that? No, because that's the whole point, is it's two sides of the same coin. But I think with the speaker, especially within Margins, and, we also have the speaker, you actually see the speaker talk to Saint within, I think it's Shepherd. You see the speaker and Osiris disagree multiple times within Pigeon and the Phoenix, and it's never
Animosity.
heated. It's never heated.
In the comic.
Yeah.
In the comic, but here's my point. In the comic, we see a public conversation between them. In Pigeon and the Phoenix, it is a private conversation between, and the consensus members were there, but it was not a public discourse. It was a private closed-door meeting.
But aren't there meetings that are in the comic? I'm sorry, I'm not.
Yeah, in the web comic,
100%.
In the web comic,
in the comic, there
there was. I think there was the
there's stuff that they have discourse about that's not in the greater consensus of the thing.
correct. There is a mention in the comic that I think is akin to the entry of politics in Pigeon and the Phoenix, because it's where Osiris basically tries to hand everything over to Ikora, and the speaker kind of calls him to task. But like, I like the way that politics presented it, because you actually got kind of more of the inner dialogue than you did in the comic. In the comic, it's really hard because the comic is a different perspective of the same event. So neither of them are 100% accurate, I would argue. They are two perspectives of the same event. But I think that the way that it is particularly portrayed in politics is you actually get a little bit more of the inner dialogue on both sides, whereas with the comic it was more of like just the it's not the animation, but like the physical conversation, like the physical context.
So I hear you there. Like one thing that really disconnected me a little bit was the sort of relationship between Osiris and Brother Vance, between the comic and how it comes off in some of the later lore cards.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the comic, it's like Brother Vance is there from ground zero. Like, he is doctrining all these things that Osiris says publicly while he's in his position of in the Vanguard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a little like, hey, like, you know, how do you
reconcile the two different perspectives on it?
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
but I mean that's pretty accurate to what's in Trials and Tribulations.
Mm-hmm.
Trials and Tribulations show Brother Vance as it shows him arriving on Mercury. It doesn't detail what he was doing beforehand, but it does hint that he was known for his unique understanding of the text. Like, that's one of the reasons that he was called out by Sister Feora and actually given control of the experiment. I don't want to dive too deep into that, but like that is a large reason why he was able to do what he was allowed to do within the disciples, was because of his knowledge of the text, not necessarily of Osiris, but like, and it kind of like the way I read it, and this is, completely contextual, so I'm open to debating this, but the way I read it was he arrived at Mercury not in the first wave, but that didn't mean that he wasn't a member of the disciples early on. He actually, it kind of felt like, I actually remember messaging Green being like, do we even know when Brother Vance went blind? Because there's some things in the Trials and Tribulations that it's like, this is really, like, I can read this either way. Like, there's a couple passages that are really interesting because in that context especially.
So I'm really here for that. That's actually a very good point. And looking back on some of the chapters from that book, like, I'm looking back on chapter 3, the Cult of Personality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm just reading this one line about how Osiris was on Mercury, and those disciples were coming to meet him.
Yep.
And I'm just thinking, like, there's this one line where like these two warlocks come to greet him.
Yep. The sisters.
One carried the scent of warmth.
Yep.
And the other,
the ozone
and Tang. And I'm just wondering, like, does Tang exist in the Destiny universe?
This is where you're dovetailing. Okay.
Yeah, I wondered.
I'm all for this serious conversation. Nope. Okay. I get. Continue.
I like that.
You may
setup.
continue.
I approve.
of it. That is the reason I will allow this to continue, is because that setup was beautifully done.
Thank you so much.
You can retire now. You've gotten blue.
I knew my audience. I knew I had to cultivate it just right.
You did it. You did it.
Gosh, I'm like, all right, where are we going with this? Where are we going? Then you said Tang. I was like, God.
Yeah.
It's too late. Can't abort the mission already.
We can't abort. We've gone too far.
We've gone too far.
So my friends listening and in the chat, this is all a very convoluted way to get to the point where
To
I
work the
suggest
Tang in.
that Tang exists. Tang the drink exists in the Destiny universe. And here's my proof. In chapter 3, The Cult of Personality, there's a line that reads, "One is carried by the scent of warmth, the other ozone and tang." Now I only offer that tang
Okay.
is used as a descriptor of flavors or scents.
The thing that
Outside,
drives me crazy about this is that now all I have is this image of this beach bum who drank way too much Tang on the just a surfer dude who's in the cult. He signed up. And he was like, "This sounds cool. I could be
The
be
best
tan
part
all
is
the
this is a
time."
warlock.
Yeah, this would be cool.
Mhm.
I could totally get down on that book club here on Mercury. I could sunbathe, and
Sunbathe.
tan.
Yo, I brought the tang with me.
I brought the Tang with me.
You
Bro,
guys
you
wanted
don't
some
even
space
know.
drinks? What's good? I brought.
Oh. He's
and
like
I'm just saying.
the bartender for the group.
Yeah.
Everything's mixed with Tang. Oh God.
All I'm saying is you show up and there's everyone is space traveling. And sometimes you need a citrus treat.
Is it citrus though? Is it actually citrus?
Yeah, it's meant
Is
to
it
be
actually
orange.
anything?
Yeah, it's meant to be orange.
It's not
It's meant
just
to be,
yellow number 23 and red number.
I mean, that's up to NASA, but all I'm saying is
That's up to NASA.
I didn't develop Tang. I'm not going to represent their product.
God. I'm done.
Yep.
All right, so shout outs.
Groovy. Who's shouting out first?
You go for it, Taylor.
Oh, I want to give a shout out to my co-host on the Spinful Theory podcast, the Bagels. I want to give a shout out to Blue, Green, Justin, the Greater Lore Network, everyone who's been a large part of any success we've ever had on our show. We've only gotten it through your support, so thank you so much. You guys are great.
Oh, Green.
Shout out to those of you who are willing to go into Crucible with us while we're doing this and just
Listen,
ends and Orchid and
it's not a Thorn quest, but it's
It's
I'd
not
read
a-
it
it's
if
up
y'all
there.
were on my platform. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
The thing that I find funny is that you always choose the harder things. This one, I could tell it's not terribly crazy, but I also can see Blue, honey. You pick it up.
Hmm?
Pick it up.
Pick what up?
Anything at this point. I'll take anything.
Yo, Blue, that's what I'm saying. You're playing way too close for that bow,
No,
brother.
I'm gonna poke him in the eye.
Yes, you will.
You can
but
do
from
you
farther
can
back.
you can use the bow like a shotty and bow melee and it'll kill him, but just not all the time.
All the time.
I'm saying it's
Not
not who he
Trying to
is.
reach out and
He-
touch somebody.
He
That's what I'm
really is. This is a cry for help.
Dude, you need
feel
what?
like this is a
you-
cry
all right,
for-
so I want you to go in with something like let's say a very topical auto rifle.
Ugh.
and I want you to go in with the knucklehead radar,
Ugh.
and I want you to hang back, and I want you to have the time of your life. Because you absolutely will, the way I'm watching you play.
Yep. Hard light? Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The
Do it.
topical auto rifle, and then plus you have your radar at all times. Like you'll have the time of your life.
I didn't realize that Knucklehead gave you Mida abilities, essentially.
Yeah, Knucklehead is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it gives you the radar. It doesn't give you the speedy.
The movement.
Gotcha.
Right, but it used to be it only gave it to you for your primary. At least it gives it to you for every
Does it give
weapon
it to you
now.
for both now?
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
Game changer.
Anyway, Blue, do you have any shoutouts?
No.
Nope. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay. This guy's sniping. Sniper.
Hit stop recording.
You can stop recording. You don't have to do any sort of render or anything, so all you have to do now is when you go to file, you're going to export as a you're play on PC, you should be fine. Export as a WAV file, please.
You got it. Yeah. Doing so now.
Awesome. Awesome. Can we go to orbit, please, Blue? Please.
The bow is not a melee weapon. If I swing it really fast, it will be.
I mean, you don't have the bow with the blades on it. You're not Legolas.
Oh, which one's the one with the blades on it?
Legolas's.
Fair enough.
Blue, do you have a link for Dropbox?
Get it here in a second.
Shankle. Oh, goodness gracious.
That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, like visiting with you two, chat. I was actually, as opposed to the last time I was a guest, I was actually here in the chat too and playing along.
Yeah. Chat has some, chat will do some real good dives while we're doing it. Dino always has the quotes on hand too of a lot of these different things. So
oh, dude, like Mr. Dino, I hope you appreciate this plug right now. In all my years of being in the Spoonfoil Lounge, you have kept me the most in check. Like 100%. Anything I have ever said that was the most remotely could be considered like in conflict with something, and I mean this in the most complimentary way because you're great. Yes, like you will let me know.
Nat pins, thank Orchid. Thank ya. If you're still on chat too. Oh my goodness.
Dismantle all the things.
Can we go to the tower then? Alright, so link for the drop boxes in chat.
And I am 8 seconds away from exporting the file.
Nice.
Where am I? There it is.
Oh goodness. Goodness gracious. Sleep well, pens. Night, Orchid.
Night, Orchid.
I hope you sleep well, hun. Hugs. Hugs your way.
Yes.
Hmm.
Let's see here. Let me find the target file.
You sleep well too, Pens. Since you're heading off that direction as well. Okay, so Taylor, before you run off, the other thing I need from you is a mailing address. If you don't necessarily want to put it, I know, right? Awkward.
Here, I'm messaging you right now.
All right, yeah, because Blue and I like to send out something as a thank you.
Aww.
So Yay.
Let me see here.
Goodness. So, Blue, we did a pretty good job of avoiding talking about the thing that we were talking about earlier
Mm-hmm.
that we're not supposed to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was that?
There's some data mined lore entries that we got a hold of.
Oh, the Jupiter thing?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Oh, different stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of different stuff. Here,
You
I'll
can do
send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want
It's
to. I don't
easier
want to
for
say
you
it
to read
because
it.
yeah, I don't want
It's
to
a
say anything.
huge. It's a huge reveal in some
yeah.
ways.
It's all. Yeah. Hang on. I
Does it
don't
go,
want to
like,
say
real
anything.
super deep?
Yes. I don't want to say anything on stream just in case someone got or gets upset by it because it is a big yes, Dino.
Yep.
Well, I got it. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Let's go with the simple answer of yes. That is correct.
Oh my.
Nope. Raz. That's not what it's about.
Where do you?
No.
All right, so I'm
Which
new
makes
to
me
Audacity.
sad.
Embarrassing moment. Where do your files save to?
It depends. Usually there's a Audacity file within the program files. Easiest way is just to hit save as and see where the dialog box pops you into.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's find that out. Everyone, I can't see where they're on chat. But
I really do think that it's possible Osiris is more than
Yes.
a normal guardian.
Oh, I
now.
100% agree. But
If they're going to go this direction with what's his
yes.
name?
Yeah.
Die.
Well, and that's if anything, but God, there's so many yes. It's funny that why am I getting flagged to go talk to her? I just talked to her. No, Ikora. That is completely not what you need right now. You are lying and wrong.
All right, so it's uploading my audio file. I've successfully done the thing.
Yay!
You've successfully done that thing. Yay! Thank you.
No
Thank you.
worries.
Titans kicked
Jupiter.
everybody's
I
butts today.
don't understand why everyone's
think it's
losing
rigged.
their mind about Jupiter.
I think
I don't get it. Why? And I was talking to Rhino about this too. Like the whole data mine video thing, it has nothing in it.
Yeah. No,
I mean, like there's
literally just a flash of the planet.
Yeah,
and nothing else happens.
Nothing else happens. Like I don't, and everyone's like, "Oh, what is it?" And I'm like, "Why? Why are we losing our minds over this?"
Really though? Was it really though? There's so many implications. Like I really hate when I'm not like calling anyone out to talk shit about them because I really like them as writers, but like when like some of the more well-known people in the journalistic part of the thing, like talk about it and they're like, oh, it's this big thing like with implications, and it's like, what did it imply? Like, continue.
What did it imply? Please continue building this because I am apparently an idiot and missed this.
Like I don't know what you're talking about because literally it was like a side like swipe of the planet.
I mean,
and considering it was over.
considering the variance in quality of articles that this journalist writes, because sometimes it's just a hype thing, sometimes it's actual journalism. So, I mean, I'm not really that surprised. And I always take his stuff with a grain of salt.
Oh, is that the
Anyway.
reason
Well,
why that the hype was so high for it? Was because of that? See,
it-
I don't
it-
I don't
well, it-
follow any of it, so I'm like,
I feel like one feeds into the other. I feel like certain publications that people have posted for it because they've correctly predicted certain things based on leaks that I feel like they were fed. Like
mhm.
I don't know. I am not a journalist. I am not commenting on anyone's journalistic integrity. I think they're all like very honest and like good-hearted people. I feel like some of the things they write about and some of the conclusions they draw are a little weird based on the information that they have.
Please show your work next time.
That's all I have to say about that. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Hey, they have to sell clicks.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
At the
That
end of
is
the
a
day.
lot of it. Yep. And anyway. I think the idea of Jupiter being a thing would be kind of cool if they did something with it, considering what we got that we know through like the actual data mine that Blue sent me earlier. I don't
Well,
know
and
if
so
they
like there
would
is
they even be tied together?
No, I don't think so. But I think the other thing that the only other thing that I can see as being a possible connection, another little thread, is we do have a random ass exotic ship that takes a conversation from the middle of the Golden Age in no context. Like, there is no context. There's nothing that explains what the hell is going on with this ship. It's oh god, it's hang on, I'll grab it real quick. I saw it for sale the other day.
What's the name of the scout rifle you really, really like, Blue?
Nameless Midnight.
Nameless Midnight.
That's the Vanguard one, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
from the
The default roll had the explosive rounds.
oh yeah, that's why I still have it. I love it.
I hope you rolled like a better one with explosive rounds.
No, I still have the original one.
If you
Oh,
played
you can still
so
infuse it?
Blue,
Yeah, I've paid out the ass to keep that
Yo,
thing
all right,
infused
all right,
up.
so that the underdog sled, not to derail us too much, does that not look like it's about to be a bobsled, but I don't know where we're supposed to like actually fly that thing from?
I completely thought the same thing. Like, where are we? Where's the snow? Like, what is
Where are you
going
supposed
on?
to? It looks like it has a gurney for our body.
Isn't
Where are
it
we
the
supposed
jump
to
ship?
fly that
Isn't
thing
that
from?
the jump ship?
Like, what's going on?
Because it would be so
What's
much more
going on
fun.
with that
It'd be so much more fun if that was. Yeah, it's a ship. No,
Oh,
that
if
needs
you
to.
rode in the gurney
That
part,
needs to
if
be a
your guardian
sparrow.
was just sitting in it
That
and it
needs to be a
scooted you along.
sparrow.
Like,
Would that
I
would
guess all
be
listeners like, hey
that would
everybody,
be
I know
a
you can't believe,
perfect sparrow.
with the tower we got a bobsled team.
Manta ray. Oh yeah,
I
solar,
really- I
solar
thought-
sailor. That's the ship.
I do really like the other ship just because it's such like a weird ship shape.
Is that the
Ship
solar
shape?
the solar sailor? The
I
with
like the solar sailor one, but
that's the one.
I'm
That's the
talking about
one
other
that like. That's the one that has like just this random lore entry,
Mhm.
and it's like,
Mhm.
what are we talking about? What's going on? Like, there's a few connections that I can think of, but nothing is actually connected.
You ever feel like they when they release something like that, it's they wrote it and they're like, this is really good, but how do we place this?
There are
fuck it,
there
let's
are
just drop
some
it.
that I have thought. I'm like there are some where it's like, I don't know if you're throwing this out there to see what happens, or if this is like, actually building for something else. Like, Which is what I actually really like
Oh.
about the game is they have so many random threads. It's just so cool.
Blue.
Hmm.
Guess what I picked up today? Can you look at my character?
I was about to
You
say,
can
I'm
do
like,
it on
there's a
stream.
lot of options to the answer to that question.
Turn around.
Every now and then you get a little bit closer. Won't you turn fucking around?
What am I looking for?
Look at me.
I am.
Character model.
I am.
Do it.
I'm inspecting you.
No,
It'll
no.
load- it'll load
In game,
Sunday.
in game. Not in the.
I'm talking to Commander Staunchy Staunch. Hang on. Okay.
How would you feel about Zavala with a big?
You got the
So you-
scores. You got the
I got the
She gave you.
scorecards.
She gave you the high score though.
I also gave him the low
Low
scores.
score.
Oh, you got the low score.
I have
Oh
both.
no.
I got both. I actually went into Gambit earlier today, and between matches, I rated the teams on the opposite side.
Oh no.
It was amazing.
So
It's
in
my
between,
favorite taunt right now.
so what I do when I lead into gambits is my favorite this season is my initial emote will be to awaken the Warmind. So I'm
Mhm.
clicking away on my clicky clacks and
Mm-hmm.
I'm hitting enter. And then after this week, it's been the pay respects. So I like spin around and do like a double finger guns cool hacker man
Mm-hmm.
after I hit enter the last time. But then like if we're winning after that first round, I do the Dr. Evil with his cat.
I love Dr. Evil. That one's so much
Dude.
fun.
Dude, as someone who literally sits in his office chair with his cat like that, when the cat needs attention, like 100%.
Just
hell
he
yeah.
has this like moon chair type thing that he slowly spins around in. Oh my gosh.
And he's like he's petting Mr. Bigglesworth the whole time. It's amazing.
On the glasses, can you actually walk around with them?
No, I can't. I
No.
wish I could.
Oh, okay.
That'd be cool.
Oh, I
Nah.
love your JoJo pose.
Yeah. Cole and I will actually line up, well, Raz too, and we'll put the fingers where they actually interlock a little bit because it looks. This is After Dark FFC, by the way. Because it looks like they're
After Dark.
scissoring. We're calling it.
Love it.
Our guardians are scissoring.
I love it.
Yeah.
We can call that the Xerxes.
There you go. There you go.
There's
references on references for that.
Right?
Guardians
There were.
Guardians make their own scissors.
Yes.
Oh my.
I mean, we do like to run Blade Barrage together.
Ooh. Ooh, that sounds like a match made in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. If you guys blade barrage against each other, does that mean like you've created air scissors?
We're playing air scissors.
Yeah.
Kinda
like
thing.
it's more scissors than might be possible by yourself.
I mean,
It's
it's
more
like an Edward
scissors.
Scissors. It's an Edward Scissorhands orgasm, so it's fine.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
It's just all over the place.
I have a new goal for companionship with my significant other.
Just a Blade Barrage. Fuck.
Just air scissors whenever we're in the same room.
Oh gosh.
That's right. That's the
Why do you
level of
keep
connection
throwing-
you
why
have
do
to work towards.
It's like, why do you keep throwing up a peace sign? Like, it's kind of getting creepy, dude. But I'm trying to be
Alright,
intimate.
So as someone who lives in DC, and we had and being Nationals fans when they won the World Series, there's
Yeah.
also a baby shark like
Oh, no.
angle to that we could get
Mhm.
away with. And anyone who doesn't get that, just imagine something crude with your fingers and you're basically
Oh, blue.
Hmm.
Fun fact, the number that shows up on my screen is not necessarily the number that shows up on your screen.
Yeah, it's random. It seems because like
Yeah.
It's just like rock, paper, scissors.
But it's per instance. So
Yeah, because like there was a 3 earlier.
yeah, so the one that just popped on my screen was a 3, and you had a 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you think you lost that half point, Blue?
Mm-hmm. Existence.
So execution.
Mm-hmm. Ah!
It's okay. I believe in you. I think you'll recoup that half a point.
Yeah. That's what post edit's for. Yep, there it is. 3.
I want
It's
it to be a
2.5
3
on mine.
completely wrong font, like just poorly like mocapped into there. Like
Right.
3.
It's a 3 with like a red Sharpie.
This is it's like a
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse 3.
Right.
Clearly.
Oh gosh.
So is this thing like every day? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so you have to do the medals every single day, which are
Mm.
basically bounties, and you place your medals that you've gotten into the particular slot for
whatever,
you.
yeah.
And then it will make the banner go up. And currently Titans, I do think it's also a little rigged as well, Taylor.
It's
Just-
rigged, man.
It feels like
I think everyone is going to get it
Oh yeah.
at least this
Wait, you
first
mean
week.
what?
First 2 weeks in
No,
full amount
you're
of time.
silly.
I think every class is going to be like, oh my god, you guys won yesterday. Like, how weird.
I'm curious if it's going to change weights per day, because I know that it is weighted depending on the population.
I will
So-
bet you Warlocks win tomorrow. I will bet you some sort of
Maybe.
like I will order you takeout at your house.
I will order you takeout. I found it hilarious, like how just yesterday, I didn't even get on. I think yesterday. No, I got on for a moment yesterday to just see what it was. But like yesterday, all Twitter feed was Titans are Titans, 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 Titans. And
Yeah.
then I get the picture of the
That's what I'm
hunter.
saying.
The hunter banner was like whack. They're like, and the
Yeah.
Titan banner is clipping through the floor. I was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
Man
like
at Arms was so
anyone
happy
who
about
is,
that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who is living their best hunter life is never going to actually talk about these games.
That's like the
They're gonna do it just to rep, but no one's gonna ever actually talk about these games. Like they're all gonna be like talking about some other stuff. Be like, "Yo, did you see that new GIF? That was pretty cool."
Yeah.
Did you call it a GIF just now? What a loser!
I just love the fact.
Sorry, if you call it GIF, you're not a loser. I'm sorry.
It's just
Sorry,
love the fact
creator
that it's
of
like
GIFs.
No, I'm good.
it's like it was just so funny because it was like definitely the most outspoken individuals on my Twitter feed were the Titans, and then I logged in. And I was like, oh, okay, that speaks volumes for democracy right there.
The thing,
So-
there are some nice touches that they did with this. Like when you're standing up here on the podium, you can hear crowds cheering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it scared me the first time.
Also the little placards that are going to be filling up as we go through the weeks, because hunters
Oh,
are on
yeah,
the
yeah.
far left.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's each
It
day.
is.
So hunters
Mhm.
hunters got a package today for winning yesterday.
right. Yeah,
And so
because
I
I
feel
just
like
got
Titans
that.
are going to win today, and that's why I'm saying I'm willing to bet you Warlocks win tomorrow. At least the first 3 days. I don't know if it's going to rotate like that, but at least the first 3 days, I bet you
I
Warlocks
didn't realize
win
the
tomorrow.
placards. That's interesting.
Yep.
Why are there
This event
9
lasts-
placards though? Wait. What?
Yeah,
There's
and
a
like
lot
now
more than
hunters
9.
are so low
No,
that
no,
it's
sorry. I
equal
was
with
counting. I
Warlocks.
was counting
Like,
the
come on.
ones. So there's just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That
'Cause
top
we won
row
the
is all
first day.
ones. No. What I'm saying
we
is
won
like
the
if you
first
look
day,
at the
yeah.
hash marks on the placards, it's 1. I thought it was week 1, but it's not.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because in the bottom of the first 2, or the first section, there's a 2 at the far right, and it's a different type
Right.
of plaque.
Yeah, that's
So,
what I'm saying. I'm like,
oh,
wait, what's going on?
I bet I know what it is. Let's see here. We have
There's
1,
5,
2, 3,
10.
4, 5, 6, 7.
14.
Okay, so the last week is the 2.
It's 3 weeks. Okay, that makes
Correct.
sense.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, because there's 14. Okay, yep. I got you. Yeah, I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, that's week 1. Hang on. Wait
Yeah.
a second. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so like I don't think they're gonna let anyone get skunked. And so that's what I think, because there's
I
no
hope
way there's
not,
fewer hunters
because
playing than warlocks right now.
well, it's not that there's fewer. It's just also that hunter
Depositing
population is
modes.
right, but it also is kind of telling of which classes like what activities. If hunters are letting this slide today, no one fucking likes Gambit or
Or
Forges.
forges.
I hated
I like
going.
both.
5 Forges? Why 5 Forges?
That was a bit much. I don't love
was
Forges that much, but I do
terrible.
dig some Gambit.
I
I'll be
like
the weird
Gambit. I'll
person.
play 5
Yeah.
matches of Gambit before I'll go play Forges.
Oh, all day. I would do if it was like a week of like, you need to play some regular Gambit. I would be like, okay,
Yeah.
sign me up, I guess.
Does it matter if it's what is it, Gambit or Gambit Prime?
I don't like Prime.
It's
I don't
either.
like Prime as much.
I-
It is either for
Yeah.
the thing. I don't like Prime as much.
Holy
I-
shit, 250?
Personally.
I prefer to play in regular Gambit too.
Yeah, because you can turn stuff around. Like if
Prime
you have
is
a
just
rough
so
start
brutal.
in
That's my
Prime,
problem.
like
Yeah. It's unforgiving.
they can steamroll you, especially if they have Reckoner gear.
Well, that's the thing is like that's actually my problem with it is you queue in and you're like, yep, blap. Like it's
Dude, yeah.
because the only people
sent
playing it
over,
right now are the people who have fully, full gear and all that. It's just like every now and then I'll get
Yeah,
lucky, but not very often.
That first shield boy, that super shield boy that they send over, you'll remember that.
Gosh.
The giant
Yeah.
one.
Oh yeah, he boops you into next week.
Yeah.
Just boop. And it always makes me so I was at that school in because I was really into Gambit when it first came out. Like I was
Mhm.
really like I was really into like getting the Dredgen title and all that. I would play Gambit, but I would just bank every 5 motes.
Oh yeah,
I didn't
because
even
the
go for
little
the bigger ones.
oh no, why?
But
Because
it depends on what you're doing though, because I really do think there's a role for somebody to be that first blocker, right? To
Mhm.
get that 1st
Mhm.
little hold on them, even if it's not very long, it just buys your team like 10 seconds more.
Oh yeah.
than
Well,
what you
the
had
other thing
before.
is the other thing that I like doing is popping the little ones, especially if they have a primeval, because the little
Oh, yeah.
goblins, the little goblins are like, "Oh, you're
With
immune.
the shield.
Mhm.
You're impossible to kill."
But
Yeah.
like, I only think one person should be doing that, not the entire team. That one person
Mhm.
who's just going to.
It's a role, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My my biggest gripe is that I feel like the I feel like the mechanic of sending over the super blocker
Mm-hmm.
is good. I feel like the idea of one super round is bad. I feel like there's a lot of mechanics from Gambit Prime that I would have loved to see applied to just like Gambit.
Okay.
Or maybe like you know how you can adjust modes in strikes.
Mm-hmm.
You can adjust the difficulty. I would have appreciated maybe being applied in that regard, to where it's like still the same game mode where you can regroup and turn stuff around potentially.
That's another playlist though, added to the mix. It
Oh,
would be it would be
I
its
guess in
own
the way I'm
separate
saying it,
pool.
it'd be the same amount. It's
Mm.
just be instead of Prime, you would shift Gambit to like hard mode, but like the game still functions the same way.
Yeah. Interesting.
That would be my druthers. Just because I think the 3-round mechanic is sort of integral into where I get a lot of fun out of Gambit.
Oh yeah,
Well, the
like
nice thing
I
about
love
the
going to round 3 as a hunter. As going to round 3 as a hunter putting on Blade Barrage and
Mm-hmm.
the gauntlets, it's a little easy mode. The only other way I've seen people melt the boss any faster is by having somebody with divinity and then doing it.
Mm.
Oh, because divinity
Yeah.
creates the giant critical spot.
Yeah. So any damage that you put onto the
I've been
primeval.
I've been smoked by a team of 3 or 4, I guess, Kamehameha Bros.
Those guys will smoke you. There's a
Ooh, yeah.
Titan debuff one too, where if you debuff the primeval a certain way and then have the rest of the team melt, it will do the same thing. It's less prevalent now that Titans do it because of the way that the shield works. You don't get the auto reload.
Mhm.
Because that's how I used to do it back in Gambit Prime. We would stand behind a Titan shield and just continually melt him and have that reload, like Risk Runner, essentially. But I don't like Gambit Prime as much. I really
Yes.
dislike the punishing aspect of not being in the well of light to be able to do damage to him. Because
Mhm.
basically, if you have anybody standing off and doing like sentry type stuff, keeping an eye out for an invader,
Yep.
you're gonna lose so much damage. So much damage opportunity.
You lose a bunch of damage, and I feel like the dynamic, to your point, of heavy has also changed because you have to stay in that place and either potentially micro damage,
Mm-hmm.
but your attention is you have tunnel vision,
Yeah.
and it's forced upon you. Is you have to be focusing on that, and so it really changes when you have to worry about someone who could invade and then do something like a blade barrage on your whole team in the spot that you have to be in if you want to try and do damage.
Mm-hmm. Plus, you cannot spawn manipulate as well in Prime, I don't think. You can absolutely control where the invader is going to spawn in Gambit.
Oh yeah.
I've stood
Or you can
and
have educated guesses, yeah.
but like if you know where your teammates are at and you go into one of the other zones and hold that zone, they're going to get force spawned into the zone where your teammates are not. 99 times out of 100.
Ooh, that's a very good point.
So it's really easy to control the flow of an invader if you have somebody consciously being a sentry off on the other side with long range stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice thing. Anyway, Blue,
Yeah, so
Yes.
did you fall asleep? You did not fall asleep.
I
No.
hope you didn't fall asleep.
What's up?
I was just gonna say I'm gonna head out
Oh, okay.
for the evening. So chat, have a good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Taylor.
Dude, thank you guys so much. Thank you, chat, for being here with me and our lovely hosts for this whole journey. I know a lot of you guys from the chat, so it was great to see you here and interact with y'all during this. And thank you guys so much for having me.
Definitely. Stream, you guys have a great night. We will see everyone on Friday at the normal time. So, see you guys then.